Chapter 565. At this moment, Xiaofan indeed wanted to take advantage of the situation and extort money from Tao Tai. Yes, what Tao Tai did in the Ami Empire was indeed absurd. But seriously speaking, it wasn't a heinous crime that would incur the wrath of the heavens. Moreover, he also subdued the demon. Originally, Xiaofan did not intend to give this quota to Tao Tai. After all, there were too many monks but not enough gruel. To be able to pick a group of pure immortals who did not cause any damage to the plane and had no bad records to enter the second round of Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure was naturally perfect. But after seeing Tao Tai with his own eyes, Xiaofan was very impressed by his simplicity and kindness. Logically speaking, an immortal who was not weak should not condescend to a mortal like Xiaofan. Therefore, Xiaofan made up his mind to be lenient and give Tao Ming a spot as well. However, it was not right to give Tao Tai a quota just like that. Xiaofan's current cultivation realm had reached various bottlenecks. He must take immortal pills and immortal medicines to break through the shackles and ascend. After a few years, he would be able to compete with many immortals in the second layer of Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. This was not a trivial matter. However, it was impossible for a mortal like Xiaofan to get immortal pills and immortal medicines out of thin air. He could only do it from these immortals who had descended. Since this Taotia's weakness was in Xiaofan's hands, Xiaofan would not be polite. "I'm just extorting this Tao Tai. It's not a big deal. These immortal pills and immortal medicines are nothing to an immortal who has descended with a great treasure." Xiaofan smiled slightly. Immortal pills and immortal medicines can atone for my sins? Brother Xiaofan, immortal pills and immortal herbs can atone for my sins. I, Tao Tai, have no objections. I agree with you with both hands. But I don't have any immortal pills or immortal herbs. This is very difficult. Tao Tai suddenly slapped his forehead, and his face was completely drawn. Brother Xiaofan, immortal pills and immortal herbs can atone for my sins. No way. Xiaofan shook his head repeatedly. Mr. Tao Tai, you're lying. You've descended from the immortal world to compete with the other sects in the immortal world. How could you not bring along immortal pills and immortal medicines for emergencies? Brother Xiaofan, it's mainly because I eat too much. That's why the sect doesn't give me immortal pills and immortal medicines. I can't help but eat them all. When I was young, would always bring a lot of immortal pills and immortal medicines with me. However, the moment I went out, I would eat all of them. I remember one time, I almost died because I took too many immortal pills. From then on, I would never bring any immortal pills with me. That works too? Do you have any magic treasures or immortal weapons on you? Xiaofan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Also not. Tao Tai said with a sullen face. You don't have any immortal elixirs, immortal medicines, magic treasures or immortal weapons. How are you going to fight with the beauties of the other immortal realm sects? Truly absurd. Xiaofan said indignantly. Brother Xiaofan, don't be angry. Listen to my explanation. Tao Tai said nervously. Because my strength is a little bit stronger than an immortal of the same level. Moreover, I am a magical treasure. Taoist Zi patted his bulging belly as he spoke. This place is a magic treasure. It can swallow anything. Xiaofan said with great difficulty. Mr. Tao Tai, what can you use to atone for your crime? It seems that I can't get this quota. Wait. Brother Xiaofan. Hold on. Tao Tai immediately screamed. How about this? Brother Xiaofan, give me a few days. Xiaofan was stunned. If that's the case, I'll immediately go and look for the immortals who have descended from the other sects in the immortal world and ask them for some immortal pills and immortal medicines. My strength is stronger than them. I think they will give me some face. Cao Tai said in panic. That works too? Xiaofan was surprised. Why not? Cao Tai said while licking his lips. However, Brother Xiaofan, there are many types of immortal pills and immortal medicines. What kind of immortal pills do you need? Xiaofan nodded slightly and thought for a few breaths. Then, he said, Earth attribute and Thunder attribute immortal pills. If there are immortal pills that can increase mental strength, that would be the best. Earth attribute, Thunder attribute, mental strength attribute. Cao Tai repeated and then nodded heavily. All right. I will remember it. Brother Xiaofan, please wait for a few days. I, Cao Tai, will go and find these immortal pills and come back to atone for my crime. As soon as he finished speaking, boom. Cao Tai's fat and huge body directly turned into a ray of immortal light and disappeared into the sky. He came and went without a trace. Ha ha ha. Brother Xiao, congratulations on your successful extortion. Jia Lanzi finally laughed. Heh. Xiaofan laughed dryly. I don't know if Cao Tai can bring back the immortal pills to atone for his crime. Brother Xiao, don't worry. Cao Tai will not return empty-handed. In fact, among the immortals who descended to this plane, his combat strength is among the best. Even if other immortals don't give it to him, he will snatch the immortal pills for you. Jia Lanzi said with absolute certainty. After a pause, Jia Lanzi asked doubtfully. Brother Xiao, you want Earth attribute and Thunder attribute immortal pills. Don't tell me you want to refine your immortal body? TSK, you have a mortal body. If you can swallow the immortal pills and refine your immortal body, it will be a miracle that is rarely seen. Heh. Xiaofan only smiled at Jia Lanzi's question and did not deny it. Just like that, after Cao Tai left the Ami Empire to search for immortal pills for Xiaofan, Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi stayed in the Ami Empire for the time being. The emperor was naturally attentive. He did not dare to be careless in the slightest when dealing with Xiaofan, the leader of this plane. The departure of Cao Tai, the king of appetite, caused the people of the entire Ami Empire to heave a long sigh of relief. The whole country celebrated, singing and dancing. In a flash, Cao Tai had already left the Ami Empire for 7 days. On this afternoon, Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi sat in the imperial garden of the imperial palace, chatting with each other. This Cao Tai has been gone for several days, but there is still no reply. Xiaofan shook his head and laughed. It seems that when he went to ask for the immortal pills, everything went wrong and he was rejected. Brother Xiao, don't be anxious. Jia Lanzi smiled. Wait patiently for a few more days. After a pause, Jia Lanzi continued. However, Brother Xiao, if this weirdo Cao Tai really does ask for the immortal pills and immortal medicines for you, then, you should give him a place, right? Of course. Xiaofan said decisively. Brother Jia Lanzi, how can this Xiao not keep his word? Since I have made a promise to Cao Tai, I will not go back on my word. In this way, in the few years before the opening of the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, how is Brother Xiao going to settle down Cao Tai? It is impossible to keep him in the Ami Empire, right? Moreover, I am afraid that no empire in the secular world can support this Cao Tai, the king of appetite. Well, when the time comes, send Cao Tai to the Devil Hero region. Let him live comfortably in the Devil Hero Tower, and provide him with food every day. Xiaofan seemed to have a plan. Brother Jia Lanzi, with my financial resources and the financial resources of the entire Devil Hero region, it is not a big problem to support Cao Tai for a few years. That's good. Jia Lanzi also nodded and smiled. At this moment, he's back. Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi said almost at the same time. Their eyes also looked at the sky almost at the same time. They saw 7 colored rays flickering in the sky, and immortal qi was faintly discernible. Taotia's fat body was already faintly discernible in the clouds. However, beside Taotai, there was a green-clothed youth standing. Pure immortal qi also flowed in the cells of his pores. As Taotai descended, he laughed heartily. "Brother Xiaofan, I, Taotai, am back." At this moment, standing in front of Xiaofan and Jialanzi, besides Taotai, was the green-clothed youth. This green-clothed youth had eyes like an eagle, and he had a peerless and ambitious spirit. Moreover, the aura of his body was round and bright. At a glance, one could tell that he was an extremely tyrannical immortal. "Brother Xiao, I am a disciple of the Deep Earth sect in the immortal world, Xiangzi." The green-clothed youth smiled slightly and then looked deeply at Xiaohan. His eyes flashed with a strange light, and he could not help but nod repeatedly. Sure enough, sure enough. Brother Xiao, you have the embryonic form of a dual-attribute immortal body with lightning and earth attributes. No wonder you asked Brother Taotai to search for the two immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes. As expected, you want to refine your immortal body. Good ambition. To refine and forge an immortal body for mortals. Brother Xiao indeed has great ambition. No wonder you are the leader of this plane. A dragon and phoenix among mortals. Brother Xiangzi, you think too highly of me. Xiaohan frowned slightly and then looked at Taotai. Brother Taotai, Brother Xiaohan, listen to me. Taotai licked his lips and said, a few days ago, I left the Ami Empire to look for other immortals who descended from the immortal world to ask for immortal pills. I found a few immortals, and they happened to not have immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes. After searching for a long time, I finally found Xiangzi, immortal pills? Xiaohan looked at Taotai. Brother Xiaohan, immortal pills. I don't have any. Taotai spread his hands. However, Xiangzi found out that Brother Xiaohan needs immortal pills with these two attributes. Therefore, he wants to go with me to see you. Xiangzi said that he will definitely satisfy Brother Xiaohan. Am I right, Xiangzi? Taotai winked at Xiangzi. Xiangzi said with a smile. Brother Xiao. Brother Taotai has already told me about the matter of you inspecting us immortals and distributing the quotas according to your discretion. I, Xiangzi, absolutely support this matter. The current situation seems to be that there are too many monks and not enough gruel. Therefore, I, Xiangzi, am afraid that some immortals who descended will come empty-handed and have made a wasted trip. If I want to get a quota from Brother Xiao, I will naturally have to pay a price. This is understandable. Therefore, Brother Xiao, I, Xiangzi, am willing to pay the price and ask for 2 quotas. I will ask for one for Brother Taotai and one for me, Xiangzi. What do you think? Xiangzi's words were full of confidence as if he had a resource that would definitely move Xiaohan. He was not worried that Xiaohan would not give him a quota. Oh. If you can really offer a price that I, Xiaohan, am satisfied with, then it won't be a problem to give Brother Taotai and Brother Xiangzi a quota each. Now, Xiaohan finally tasted the pleasure of raising the price and hoarding a rare commodity. Brother Xiangzi, could it be that you have a large number of immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes? Ha ha ha. Immortal pills with lightning and earth attributes? I don't. Xiangzi laughed. However, I have this. Suddenly, Xiangzi took out an earthen yellow ball. It was about the size of a fist. However, the yellow ball was overflowing with light, and the silhouette of a chain of mountains flashed across it. Countless mountains and mountain ranges rolled past it. It was as if there were tens of thousands of majestic mountain ranges sealed within the yellow ball. It was extremely shocking. The surface of the yellow ball was engraved with dense immortal characters, and it was shrouded in immortal aura. A thick and solid earth element aura gushed out and spread out violently, causing the earth attribute gene in Xiaofan's bloodline to stir. Shockingly, rings of yellow light were emitted from the surface of Xiaofan's body. It turned out to be a yellow ball in Shi Yangzi's hand. The aura it emitted had directly triggered Xiaofan's earth elemental physique. It's an earth attribute treasure. Xiaofan was well aware of this. At this moment, Jia Lanzi, who was standing behind Xiaofan, could not help but exclaim in surprise. "Brother Xiao, this is an immortal treasure, the earth god's demon subduing pearl." Shi Yangzi looked at Xiaofan confidently. "I'll use this immortal treasure to exchange for 2 quotas to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. That should be enough, right?" To be continued. Chapter 566. The Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl? Xiaofan was stunned. Watermark advertisement test. He had wanted a medicinal pill, but he did not expect Shi Yangzi to give him a Dharma treasure. Furthermore, this magic treasure, be it in terms of appearance or aura, was definitely extraordinary. In addition, even Jia Lanzi, who had been calm all this while, could not help but let out a cry of surprise. "Oh?" Shi Yangzi looked at Jia Lanzi in surprise, but he did not notice anything amiss. He quickly turned to look at Xiaofan and said, "Brother Xiao, listen to me. Brother Xiao, listen to me." Shi Yangzi sorted out his thoughts before he began to speak. "This earth god's demon subduing pearl is an extremely powerful magic treasure of my sect, the Deep Earth sect. Our Hutu sect mainly cultivates earth attribute celestial arts. Originally, our sect had a lot of earth attribute celestial pills. However, I didn't bring any celestial pills with me this time. It's fine. This earth god demon subduing pearl was created by the wise sages of our sect. They collected 188,888 immortal mountains filled with spirit chi and refined 188,888 meteorites from outer space for countless years before they were able to create this magical treasure. There are 188,888 souls of immortal mountains sealed in this bead?" Xiaofan couldn't help but exclaim upon hearing this. "Indeed. Therefore, the earth elemental essence contained in this earth god's devil subduing and demon suppressing pearl is richer than countless immortal pills. The earth elemental essence in it already shows signs of becoming a spirit and a monster." Shi Yangzi fiddled with the pearl in his hand. The mountains in it kept tumbling and pressing down on the universe. "This is the Dharma treasure. This is the Dharma treasure. Once it's used, it can directly crush the enemy into powder. To be honest, this is one of the few life-saving celestial artifacts bestowed upon me by the sect after I descended to this world. Normally, I wouldn't give it to anyone easily, but I owed Brother Taotai a favor back in the immortal world. Now, I'm going to give it to him. Now, I'll use it to repay him. Moreover, I must go on an expedition in a few years. I can't return empty-handed. I'll definitely get a spot from Brother Xiao. I'll also take on the responsibility of revitalizing the sect. However, I can't ask Brother Xiao to give me a spot for free. It's better to rely on myself than others. Since the spots are limited, I'll use this Dharma treasure. Since the spots are limited, I'll use this Dharma treasure. Brother Xiao, you're searching for earth-attributed and lightning-attributed immortal pills because you want to temper your immortal body. Although this earth god's demon subduing pearl is not an immortal pill, if you can refine it, your earth immortal physique will be extremely condensed, thick, and flawless. Success. Shi Yangzi looked at Xiaofan with burning eyes. However, it's not that I, Shi Yangzi, look down on Brother Xiao, but I'm afraid that Brother Xiao's mortal body won't be able to endure the refinement of the earth god's demon subduing pearl, and your body will explode. Even in the celestial world, one must be a level 3 or level 4 true immortal who cultivates an earth immortal technique in order to refine it. Of course, you don't have to refine it. I'll give this Dharma treasure to Brother Xiao. With Brother Xiao's embryonic earth immortal body, you'll be able to refine it with your blood. Brother Xiao will probably be able to unleash 1% of this Dharma treasure's power. Whether you refine it to refine your immortal body or refine it with your blood and make it your own Dharma treasure, it's all up to you. Of course, if Brother Xiao insists on refining this earth subduing the demon subduing pearl, I'll stand guard at the side. If Brother Xiao fails to refine it and suffers a backlash, I'll immediately make a move to save Brother Xiao. Shi Yangzi said seriously. So that's how it is. Xiaofan muttered to himself. So, not only can I consume immortal pills to refine my immortal body, but I can also refine Dharma treasures. This Dharma treasure, the earth subduing the demon subduing pearl, contains an enormous amount of starry sky earth energy essence. I'm afraid it's even more powerful than tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of Earth Emperor body refining pills. If I refine and absorb this Dharma treasure completely, I'll definitely refine the starry sky dominator body and become the first mortal to refine a true immortal body in the mortal world. However, will I be able to refine it successfully? Xiaofan was also full of doubts. However, Xiaofan would definitely not miss out on this heaven-defying Dharma treasure. Alright. Deal. I'll use this earth attribute Dharma treasure, the earth subduing the demon subduing the pearl to exchange for 2 slots to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. It's fair and just. That's great. Both sides took what they needed. Shi Yangzi also nodded. At this moment, Xiaohan nodded at Jialanzi and said, Brother Jialan, please record the names of Shi Yangzi and Taotai Zi. Alright. Jialanzi smiled and removed his cloak, revealing his true appearance. So it's you. Jialanzi. Taotai Zi and Shi Yangzi screamed at the same time when they saw Jialanzi. Jialanzi, I didn't expect you to be together with Brother Xiaohan. Even I, Taotai Zi, didn't notice you. Amazing, your concealment skill is truly extraordinary. You're worthy of being the leader of the younger generation in the immortal world. I, Taotai Zi, admire you. Taotai Zi shook his head and said. Shi Yangzi was also shocked. No wonder Brother Xiao dared to make the decision to allocate the names to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. So you have Jialanzi's support, let's cut to the chase. Brother Taotai, Brother Shi Yang, you'll each get a name. Jialanzi took out a jade book and a jade brush and began recording seriously. Alright, it's been recorded. Brother Taotai, Brother Shi Yang, before the opening of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, you can go to the Unity Mountain Range and find Xiaohan. Very good. Shi Yangzi nodded his head in satisfaction and handed the magic treasure Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl to Xiaohan. This divine pearl was extremely heavy in his hand, and Xiaohan almost couldn't hold it. Moreover, when he held it in his hand, Xiaohan's state of mind became extremely calm. His entire being actually gave birth to a subtle sense of confidence. Moreover, his essence, qi, and spirit were extremely compatible with heaven and earth. There was a feeling of touching the great Tao of nature. It's really magical. Xiaohan was secretly impressed. Brother Taotai, Brother Shi Yang, after this matter, I still have to search for other immortals with Brother Jialan to decide who the remaining names belong to. Let's part ways here. Xiaohan carefully put the pearl into his storage ring. Brother Shi Yang, this magic treasure, should I refine it or use it with a drop of my blood? I'll discuss it with Brother Jialan before making a decision. As for Brother Taotai. Xiaohan smiled and looked at Taotai Zi. Brother Taotai, this Ami Empire has been eaten to the bottom by you. You can't stay here any longer, oh. Taotai Zi patted his shriveled belly with extreme disappointment and murmured. Looks like I'll have to endure hunger for a few more years. Bitter, miserable, ha 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 ha. Xiaofan laughed heartily. Brother Taotai, since you've descended to this plane, I'll naturally do my duty as a host. You can go to our plane's Devil Hero region now. There will naturally be people who will treat you with great hospitality. You'll be able to enjoy endless delicacies. What? Taotai Zi cried out in surprise. Brother Xiaofan, can I eat to my heart's content? Yes. Of course you can. Although I'm poor, I don't have to worry about Brother Taotai eating me to my poverty. Xiaofan teased. Ha 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 ha. Jialan Zi and Shiyang Zi couldn't help but laugh heartily. A ray of cold light flew across the sky and flashed before disappearing. Xiaofan and Jialan Zi sat cross-legged on the cold ice subterranean dragon's head that was formed by their true qi. Brother Xiao, congratulations on successfully obtaining a magical treasure from the immortal world. This is quite a big blow. Jialan Zi said with a smile. He he. This is really an unexpected harvest. Xiaofan's brows also relaxed. He never thought that the plan to extort an immortal would go so smoothly. To be honest, Brother Xiao, the immortal world sect that Shiyang Zi belongs to, the Deep Earth sect, might not have a great overall strength and can barely be ranked in the middle. However, the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl is indeed one of the few magical treasures unique to the Deep Earth sect. It's also quite famous in the immortal world. Xiang Zi is a level 2 true immortal, but with the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl and his immortal force, it's not impossible for him to fight against a level 3 true immortal. Of course, if a senior disciple or an elder of the Deep Earth sect personally uses this magical treasure, its power will be even greater. TSK, in order to obtain the treasure of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, the Deep Earth sect has already put in a lot of effort. However, Brother Xiao, you've benefited from it. Such an extraordinary magical treasure has still fallen into your hands in the end. Jialan Zi also had a lot of thoughts. This Xiang Zi is also quite a character. He gave away a magical treasure just like that. This boldness is indeed the character of an ambitious and ruthless person. In the immortal world, this person is a person who kills without hesitation. However, he doesn't have a bad record. Xiang Zi is not bad. He would rather use a magical treasure to exchange for a quota than to threaten a mortal like me. In the beginning, he and Taotai didn't know that Brother Jialan Zi was hiding beside me. They didn't have any misgivings and could have easily captured me and asked for a quota. Although I don't really understand Xiang Zi, this person is at least open and aboveboard, Xiaofan said emotionally. This is called, without sacrificing the child, one cannot trap the wolf, Jialan Zi said half jokingly and half seriously. Of course, from this point of view, Xiang Zi definitely has more than one life-saving magical treasure on him. With such boldness, he must be very confident in obtaining something in the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Even if he gets one or two magical treasures, the loss of the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl can be completely ignored. Instead, he might even make a huge profit. However, Brother Xiao, do you really intend to refine the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl? Jialan Zi's eyes stared at Xiaofan. Refining a magical treasure from the immortal world is no small matter. It is even more difficult than consuming and refining immortal pills. As long as I can refine this Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl and absorb it into my body, I can at least condense a level 1 immortal body, right? Xiaofan licked his lips and his eyes emitted a light that was eager to make a move. Chapter 567. Level 1 Immortal Physique. Equivalent to a Level 1 True Immortal. Every Level 1 True Immortal's immortal physique can be called a Level 1 Immortal Physique. A Level 1 Immortal Physique's pure physical strength is about 1 to 10 Immortal Dragon Power. In other words, it is 10 trillion ding to 100 trillion ding in the mortal world. As long as one reaches a Level 1 Immortal Physique, no mortal in the mortal world can break their defense. However, Xiaohan's current physical strength is only 5 trillion ding, far from enough to forge a level 1 immortal physique. This. Brother Xiao, this earth god demon suppressing pearl, is a magic treasure with some fame in the immortal world. Even a level 1 or level 2 true immortal cannot refine it. One must reach level 3 or even level 4 true immortal, and have the earth and starry sky attribute in their bloodline to try to refine it. Moreover, even a level 4 true immortal would need to spend several years of hard work to completely refine the earth god's demon-suppressing orb. Jialanzi said. If Brother Xiao can refine this earth god demon-suppressing pearl, you can easily create a level 2 immortal physique without any suspense. Moreover, the immortal physique created by refining the earth god demon-suppressing pearl is a special immortal physique. Its quality is superior to ordinary immortal physiques. For example, the earth attribute starry sky sovereign physique is at least twice as good as ordinary level 1 immortal physiques. It's just that. Jia Lanzi laughed. Brother Xiao, if you say that you can consume immortal pills, this is already shocking news. If it spreads to the immortal world, even countless immortal emperors would be shocked. But if you can even refine an immortal artifact, that would be a rare thing. A mortal refining an immortal artifact. TSK, I don't even dare to think about it. Xiaohan also understood that there were differences between immortal physiques. Ordinary immortal physiques. Special immortal physiques. For example, Xiaohan's current 2 embryonic forms of immortal physiques, Thunder God Tyrant Body and Starry Sky Sovereign Physique, once completed. Then, the quality would be superior to ordinary immortal physiques of the same level. Special immortal physiques, the future is boundless. Brother Xiao. Cultivate. Step by step, follow the rules. Steady and steady, the most taboo is to advance rashly. Jia Lanzi said earnestly. Brother Xiao, why don't you refine immortal physique demon-suppressing pearl for now? Refine it into your magic treasure. With your mortal aptitude, you won't be able to perfectly unleash the full power of this magic treasure, but it's enough for you to protect yourself. Brother Jialan is very knowledgeable. What you said is very reasonable. Then, let us look for the immortals who are scattered all over the world again. Reward the good and punish the evil, bestow a quota or banish them. As for the demon-suppressing pearl of the earth god, it was the demon-suppressing pearl. I'm not in a hurry to refine it into my magic treasure. Xiaohan temporarily restrained himself from mentioning the matter of refining the earth god's demon-subduing orb in front of Jia Lanzi. However, in the depths of Xiaohan's heart, there was an unbearable itch. Swish! The frozen nightmare dragon streaked across the horizon. Xiaohan's spirit fluctuated. It spread out like a fishing net. They spread out to every corner of the plain, searching for the aura of immortals. Xiaohan said with a smile as he continued to search. Brother Jialan, if every immortal we find is as pure, open-minded, and upright as the clairvoyant, Taotai, and breathing soil, then our next mission will be much easier. However, then again, if every immortal follows the rules and gets the quota as they wish, then the quota in my hands will not be enough for distribution. Jialan said with a smile. Looking for immortals. Just like this, Xiaohan and Jia Lanzi trekked across mountains and rivers, covering more than half of the southern region. In a few days, they found a total of 5 immortals. Among them, there were 3 male immortals and 2 female immortals. These 5 immortals had extremely gentle temperaments. After seeing Xiaohan, they also treated him with respect. Moreover, after they descended to this plain, they all followed the rules and didn't do anything out of line. This made Xiaohan unable to find any flaws in these immortals. The 5 quotas were distributed to these 5 immortals respectively. Now, there were a total of 8 immortals who obtained the quota to enter the second level of the Great Blade Immortal Emperor's treasure from Xiaohan. There were still 192 quotas left for the immortals that Xiaohan reserved for the immortals. In these few days, when Xiaofan was alone, he would take out the demon-suppressing orb from time to time and play with it over and over again. He almost couldn't put it down. There were several times when Xiaofan almost couldn't restrain himself and tried to refine it. However, the demon-suppressing orb's aura was too fierce and overbearing. It was far from what the Earth Emperor body-enhancing pill could compare to. Every wisp of the demon-suppressing orb's aura was as heavy as a mountain, pressuring Xiaofan to the point of suffocation. Moreover, it gave Xiaofan an illusion that even if he had the indestructible golden body, if he tried to refine the demon-suppressing orb rashly, he would be in danger of exploding and dying. Unfortunately, the strength of my physical body is now only 5 trillion cauldrons. It's too shallow. Even with the indestructible golden body, it can't withstand the power of this immortal artifact. If I'm not careful, I'll explode. That's not fun. It seems that I have to think of the best refining method before I can do it. Xiaofan stopped at the edge of the cliff several times and reminded himself not to be impulsive. As Brother Jialan said, a immortal artifact is a immortal artifact. It's not that easy to refine it. Moreover, Xiaofan had now rejected the idea of refining the demon-suppressing orb with his blood again and refining it into his own magic treasure. After all, he was immortal. If he forced himself to use the immortal artifact, he wouldn't be able to exert much power. Therefore, in Xiaofan's opinion, the demon-suppressing orb could only be used to refine the immortal body. There was no other way. If I can find a way to refine the demon-suppressing orb, then I can create at least a level 2 immortal body. And a special immortal body, which is comparable to an ordinary level 3 immortal body. The ones who descended this time are all level 2 true immortals. If I, Xiaofan, can have a level 2 special immortal body, I might be able to deal with them. A few years later, when I reached the second level of the Great Blade Immortal Emperor's treasure, Xiaofan won't be at the mercy of the immortals. Xiaofan racked his brains on the way to find the immortals. East Region. Dragon Scale Empire. The night of the full moon. The peak of the Imperial City. At this time, a cold young man in green with a sword on his back had a look of ridicule and ruthlessness in his eyes. The aura around him was as sharp as a heavenly sword, and a sword light chilled 19 continents. Moreover, streaks of ancient sword chi were ejected from his cell pores, producing the rise and fall of the sun, the ebb and flow of the tide, and many strange phenomena. Around his body, jade-like veins were washed out. Moreover, the sword chi emitted from his body. It was both good and evil. It was very terrifying. This green-clothed swordsman's eyes were extremely proud. Looking down at the world, he looked at a middle-aged swordsman standing in front of him. That middle-aged swordsman also had an extraordinary aura, but in front of the green-clothed swordsman. However, it appeared dim and dull. At this time, the middle-aged swordsman's face was painted with an expression as if he was facing a great enemy, and there was a look of resentment in his eyes. Under the imperial city, a dense crowd of people were watching the confrontation between the green-clothed swordsman and the middle-aged swordsman. Every onlooker looked at the green-clothed swordsman with eyes full of hatred. However, none of them dared to say anything even though they were angry. They didn't dare to say anything. "Young man, I admit that you are a rare genius in the way of the sword. Who exactly are you? In our plane, there is no such person as you." The middle-aged swordsman gritted his teeth and said, "On our ranking list of demon heroes, there is no such person as you. You came to the Dragon Scale Empire a few days ago and wantonly looked for swordsmen to compete with you. It's normal to compete with swords. However, your attacks are too vicious. Those who compete with you can't escape death. In just a few days, 58 swordsmen have died in your hands. Among them, there are a few demon swordsmen who also died an unnatural death." "Ha ha ha ha, what an idiot." The green-clothed cold young swordsman scoffed. "The guys from your plane are all ignorant. Since you have chosen to cultivate the way of the sword, you must be prepared to die. Die under the sword of others. This is called inferior skill. Moreover, I have already completely suppressed the trash swordsman from your plane when I competed with him. Just by relying on my understanding and skill of the sword, I can easily kill you. You don't deserve to use the sword. After pausing for a moment, the green-clothed swordsman raised his eyes and looked at the cold night sky. I want to challenge all the sword cultivators in your plane. I will punish and execute each and every one of them who don't deserve to use the sword. In your plane, the insignificant mortals actually built a temple to worship that Xiaofan. Xiaofan, what is he? An ant. Worse than a pig or a dog. How dare he accept worship? Tisk, since he is called the leader of this plane, sooner or later, he will know that I have challenged all the sword cultivators in his plane. At that time, he will come and beg me not to torture and kill trash like you. Humph, what is my identity? Since I've come to this plane, the only reason why Xiaofan would come to me like a dog begging to see me is because I won't condescend to look for him personally. At that time, he must kneel down and beg me, kowtow, then I will consider whether to kill all the sword cultivators in this plane. Presumptuous. How dare you insult leader Xiaofan? The middle-aged swordsman couldn't hold it in anymore. He flew into a rage and finally scolded, "You cultivate the way of the sword, so you should know that the sword is the way of a gentleman. A sword cultivator should be broad-minded and benevolent. But you bully and kill those who are weaker than you. This is not the way of the sword, this is the way of evil. You are simply out of control. The heavens won't tolerate it. People like you will definitely be punished by the heavens. You are worse than a pig or a dog." The green-clothed swordsman was already furious. "In my eyes, each and every one of you is like a beast. You dare to talk to me about the heavens? What is the heavens? You will never understand. Never understand. And I know the heavens better than you. The heavens will never pity you weaklings, beasts. Now, I will let you see the power of the heavens. Of course, this is only a tiny bit of my power. It is only the tip of the iceberg of my killing intent." As soon as he finished speaking, the green-clothed swordsman used his right index finger as a sword and formed a sword seal. Astonishingly, starlight, moonlight, space, time, all of them gathered at his fingertips. Between heaven and earth, there was darkness. Only the green-clothed swordsman's sword tip emitted a ray of light. This was a demonic light. Mortals. This is your so-called heavens. Pooh! A stunning ray of light shot out from the green-clothed swordsman's fingertip. Space exploded. The shattered and distorted space instantly turned the middle-aged swordsman into fine powder, leaving not even a speck of dust. Waves of powerful sword aura rippled in all directions, spreading out like ripples. Hua hua hua! Below the imperial city, the spectators didn't even have time to react before their bodies were minced into pieces by the aftershock of the sword chi. They exploded one after another, like fireworks exploding in all directions. "Mortals, this is the heavens." The green-clothed swordsman sneered and flew into the air, leaving the imperial city. Chapter 568. Eastern Region. Watermark Advertisement Test. Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi had already arrived at the eastern region from the southern region. In the southern region, Xiaofan found a total of 8 immortals and distributed 8 spots to enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Brother Jia Lanzi, it seems that only a small number of immortals are staying in the southern region. Xiaofan looked at Jia Lanzi with a smile. Brother Jia Lanzi, this is the eastern region. It has the largest territory, the most countries, the most prosperous sects, and the wealthiest people. The eastern region is much larger than the southern region. The eastern region is indeed magnificent. Its territory is several times larger than the southern region. The difference between the southern region and the eastern region is like the difference between a small village and a big city. No wonder so many immortals have gathered in the eastern region. Jia Lanzi said with a smile. Yes. Xiaofan nodded slightly. Then, he slightly spread out his spiritual force and exclaimed. There are many immortals hiding in the eastern region. I found a lot of immortal energy hibernating in the mortal world. Brother Xiao, don't alert them. Let's look for these immortals one by one. Jia Lanzi said hurriedly. I know. Xiaohan's spiritual force began to spread out and scan them one by one. Surprisingly, Xiaohan's expression changed dramatically. Originally, Xiaohan had been relaxed and at ease. However, at this moment, Xiaohan's expression turned cold and furious. The muscles at the corner of his eyes kept twitching. His pupils shrank and revealed a murderous intent. Oh! Jia Lanzi's eyes also focused. I didn't expect to meet a black sheep in the end. Xiaohan's gaze focused on the dragon scale empire in a corner of the eastern region. At this moment, in the sky above the dragon scale empire, the aura of death lingered. Many vengeful spirits had not yet dissipated. It seemed that in the void, there were faint howls of unwillingness, anger, and roars. Mournful roars, in the other countries of the eastern region. The sun was shining brightly and the sky was clear for thousands of miles. However, in the dragon scale empire alone, there were many goose feather-like snowflakes flying in the air. The entire dragon scale empire was simply in an atmosphere of depression and indignation. The atmosphere was lifeless. Moreover, a strand of immortal qi rushed out from the layers of death qi in the dragon scale empire. This strand of immortal energy possessed a type of unrestrained sharpness. It rushed into the heavens without any misgivings. If the godly diviner that Xiaohan encountered was described as gentle, Taotia's immortal qi was mellow, and Shi Yang's immortal qi was arrogant. In that case, the celestial qi rushing out of the dragon scale empire was very domineering. No one, no me. Unbridled. Moreover, this immortal qi contained a murderous intent that was as deep as the ocean. Woo 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 woo, the resentment of the wronged souls hovered above the dragon scale empire. They wanted to rush towards that strand of immortal energy, tear at it, take revenge. However, with a slight twist of the immortal energy, all of the vengeful spirits and resentment were completely turned into nothingness. Damn it! Suddenly, Xiaohan couldn't help but curse. Finally, I've met an immortal who's gone on a killing spree in the mortal world. Killing mortals in such a dignified manner. Damn it! Xiaohan was so angry that his whole body was trembling. After his spirit wave condensed like a beam of light and shone into the dragon scale empire, after careful observation, he roughly knew the number of mortals that died in the dragon scale empire in a few days. Tens of thousands of people died. Xiaohan was furious. Jia Lanzi's face was also extremely cold, and a trace of murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He's really a disgrace to our immortal world. He's not a big figure in the immortal world. I'm afraid he's been suppressed for a long time and can't vent his anger. Now that he's descended to the mortal world, he's killing mortals without restraint. This is purely a performance of incompetence. Brother Xiao, I think I already know who that guy is. Forget it, we'll directly enter the country that's been harmed by that guy. We'll directly deprive him of the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Expel him. Expel? He killed tens of thousands of people in a few days. Aren't the lives of mortals important? Just deprive him of the quota and expel him? Xiaohan said ruthlessly. Brother Xiao. What do you mean? Jia Lanzi's eyes slightly narrowed. Kill. Xiaohan said resolutely. Kill this immortal. Jia Lanzi hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Since I've already promised Brother Xiao, an immortal who has committed a crime in the mortal world should be punished. Then, I'll do it later, go. Xiaofan angrily rode the true chi-chilling ice chi dragon and directly descended to the Dragon Scale Empire. Dragon Scale Empire. Dragon Scale Ocean. At the bottom of a vast ocean. At this moment, at the bottom of the ocean, a green-robed man was sitting cross-legged. In front of him, a sharp sword was inserted into the reef at the bottom of the ocean. Gugugu, the green-robed man's aura was forced out, suppressing the seawater so much that it was pushed away in all directions and bubbled. Some giant sea sharks, sea whales, and octopuses did not dare to approach the green-robed man. The aura emitted by the green-robed man was like that of a primordial divine beast or a heaven-defying killing god, causing these giant sea beasts to stay far away. Oh, suddenly, the green-robed man opened his eyes and sword light burst out. Pooh! 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 In all directions, countless giant sea whales, giant sea turtles, and octopuses were cut into pieces, causing their blood to spurt out. Just now, there was a strand of mind energy scanning the Dragon Scale Empire from 10,000 li away. This strand of mind energy is so powerful that it could detect the fluctuation of my immortal chi, and it also scanned this area. However, this mind energy is not released by an immortal. It's a mortal. The green-robed man's eyes were burning with excitement, and his face looked extremely demonic. Ha 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 ha. In this plane, only a mortal with such a powerful mind energy is able to do so, Xiaofan. Ha 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 ha. Plane leader? Ruler of a plane? Trash. In front of me, this Xiaofan is worse than a pig or a dog. He does have a place to enter the second layer of Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. However, who is he? I'm a mortal, and I'm a perfected immortal. How can a perfected immortal visit a mortal? Now, I'm going on a killing spree in this country to force Xiaofan to show himself. When the time comes, I want to be in this country. Humiliate their leader, Xiaofan, in front of all the mortals. You want me to stop killing? Then. Xiaofan, kneel before me. Ha 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 ha. It was the voice of the green-clothed man. He was a little hysterical. At this moment, memories of the past flashed through the green-clothed man's mind. Divine Sword Son. Your swordsmanship is not good enough, yet you dared to invite me to the life and death arena. Now, you have lost. However, we're both disciples of the Sword Sect, and I'm your senior brother as well. So, I won't take your life. However, I can spare you from death, but I can't spare you from punishment. I'll punish you to kneel before the entrance to the sect. Everyone in Sword Sect. Look at how ugly you are. Ha 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 ha. A white-robed sword cultivator stabbed the green-robed divine sword master to the ground. Ho ho ho, the divine sword child let out a bestial howl. Divine Sword Son, I know you're not convinced. However, if you don't kneel this time, I'll tear you into pieces. You lost in the life and death arena, so it's natural for me to kill you. Are you going to kneel or not? I'll kneel. The divine Sword Son's body trembled. He slowly lowered his head, and the anger in his eyes was enough to drown everything. Dragon Scale Empire, Imperial City. Outside the Imperial City, hundreds of thousands of people were crying. The whole Imperial City was covered with broken corpses, and the smell of blood filled the air. Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi walked straight into the Imperial Palace with solemn expressions. Sigh, it actually caused such a tragedy. Jia Lanzi shook his head repeatedly. That guy, in terms of crime, should be beheaded. Xiaofan walked without saying a word. Occasionally, there would be sword chi ripples in the air, carrying with them the mysteries of swordsmanship and the smell of immortal chi. Xiaofan also used his hands to break them. Inside the Imperial Palace. Leader Xiaofan. Leader Xiaofan. You must uphold justice for our Dragon Scale Empire. The emperor of the Dragon Scale Empire was dressed in mourning clothes, crying incessantly. All the civil and military officials, concubines, maids, and eunuchs were also crying. Moreover, all of their faces were filled with extreme fear and despair. The Dragon Scale Empire was full of people, and the imperial palace was in mourning. At this moment, Xiaofan was trying his best to comfort the people who were about to faint from crying. As for Jialanzi, his whole body was wrapped in layers of thick linen cloak, revealing only a pair of eyes. His aura was like that of wood and stone. In Jialanzi's eyes, there was also anger brewing. Leader Xiaofan, that guy. As soon as he came to our Dragon Scale Empire, he looked for people to compete with. His methods are extremely cruel. Those who compete with him will definitely die. He killed 58 of the most famous sword cultivators in our country, and yesterday, he also killed a demon hero. Yesterday, his sword chi ripples caused great destruction. He tortured and killed tens of thousands of innocent people. Many tragedies happened last night. Leader Xiaofan, now our country is in a great panic. We have already asked for help from the Demon Hero Tower. Moreover, tonight, that guy will come out again to provoke us. Leader Xiaofan, you must save our country, Your Majesty, please rest assured, I will definitely not let that guy go. Xiaofan said while gnashing his teeth. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, a cold and arrogant voice came out of nowhere and resounded in the imperial palace of the Dragon Scale Empire. You are Xiaofan, right? Ha 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 ha. You are just a mere mortal. You think that just because you have some talent, you will not let me go? Ha ha ha. Today, I will make you kneel in front of me in front of all the mortals in the world. Lick my toes. Ha 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 ha. Trash. As soon as this voice came out, the emperor and all the people in the imperial palace trembled like chickens. They were scared out of their wits, as if they had fallen into a nightmare. Leader Xiaofan. Leader Xiaofan. It is this guy. The emperor said with his eyes wide open. Damn, don't play tricks on me. Come out. Xiaofan's whole body was full of vigor, like a god descending to the world. Come out. As you wish. The voice said indifferently. The next moment, boom. Above the imperial palace of the Dragon Scale Empire, a huge whirlpool of sword chi appeared out of nowhere. The wind and clouds surged in all directions. A green-robed young man with a sword on his back slowly walked out of the whirlpool of sword chi and looked in the direction of the imperial palace. Xiaofan, today, I want you to kneel. Chapter 569. A powerful aura descended and enveloped the entire Dragon Scale Empire. Hundreds of millions of creatures in the Dragon Scale Empire felt suffocated. The huge Dragon Scale Empire fell into silence. In the void, the huge whirlpool of sword chi swept over everything. Many jade-like immortal patterns emerged from it, which were dazzling and dazzling, making all living beings worship them. But soon, the green-robed swordsman's body devoured the whirlpool of sword chi like a funnel. He walked through the void, dignified like an abyss or a sea, his gaze high up above, looking down on all life, carrying a great deal of disdain, a great deal of wildness. The next moment, all kinds of strange phenomena appeared on the green-robed swordsman. In an instant, snowflakes filled the sky, and the sword chi was overwhelming. The green-robed young man was like a peerless swordsman who could destroy the world. He stood proudly in the sky full of cold snow, lonely, arrogant, indifferent, and disdainful. He pulled out his sword and looked around, unable to find an opponent. His aura alone was not something that mortals could compare with. There were many martial artists in the Dragon Scale Empire, including some evil heroes. However, under the cover of the green-robed swordsman's aura, these martial artists were all scared out of their wits and completely suppressed, not daring to show their faces. The green-robed swordsman glanced around in the void. Hundreds of millions of creatures in the dragon-scale empire seemed to feel that the green-robed swordsman was staring at them, and they all knelt down. The green-robed swordsman enjoyed the prestige of coming to the mortal world. Here, he could obtain great dignity, an invincible dignity. Whoever he wanted to make kneel down must kneel. Whoever he wanted to kill must die. Whoever he wanted to kill must die. The feeling of controlling the fate of mortals. It's very subtle. The green-robed swordsman smiled slightly. But it feels good. Xiaofan. Come out. Kneel. Surrender. In the imperial palace of the dragon-scale empire, Xiaofan couldn't bear it anymore. At the thought of how this immortal had come down to the lower realm and wreaked havoc, torturing and killing tens of thousands of innocent people, Xiaofan's killing intent soared to the skies. At this moment, he no longer cared whether the other party was an immortal or not. He directly moved and rushed out. Jia Lanzi silently followed behind Xiaofan. Boom! Xiaofan flew up into the sky and confronted the green-clothed swordsman. At this moment, an earthen yellow aura surged around Xiaofan's body. The thick starry sky's earth physique was extremely compatible with the gray space, causing Xiaofan to release the aura of a natural heavenly Tao. Thin and dense electric arcs, like dragons and snakes, slithered out of every pore and cell in Xiaofan's body. It was as if every pore and cell of Xiaofan's body was brewing an invincible world of thunder. Moreover, the 70 acupoints in Xiaofan's body began to rumble as boundless true qi surged within them, forming a raging vortex of true qi, brilliant and resplendent. Xiaofan's powerful flesh shell and true qi caused his body to shine brilliantly. He also released an unparalleled aura. In terms of qi, even though Xiaofan could not completely compete with the green-robed swordsman, he was neither servile nor overbearing. Perhaps, in the entire mortal world, there was no one else who could not be completely overwhelmed by the aura of an immortal, and could instead remain unfazed by it, other than Xiaofan. As for Jia Lanzi, he still covered his face and concealed his aura. He stood behind Xiaofan like a piece of dry stone. Oh! You are the leader of countless ants in this plain. At this moment, the green-robed swordsman looked at Xiaofan with a sneer. He was the ruler of the world, looking down on all living things. When he looked at Xiaofan, it was like an invincible monarch looking at a pitiful beggar. Indeed, you have some talent. Among the mortals, you should be considered outstanding. You are just a slightly stronger ant. That's all. The green-robed swordsman pointed at Xiaofan. You are just an ant, yet you dare to build a temple in the mortal world and accept worship. Such great prestige. Dog's guts. Who gave you the guts to do this? However, Xiaofan, you are not a complete idiot. You are probably a little clever. You actually know to take the initiative to pay respect to me. That's right, if you think that because you have the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, you are fearless and want to wait for us immortals to beg you, then you are too naive. Mortals are mortals, immortals are immortals. Immortals rule everything, and mortals are like pigs and dogs. Xiaofan, if you did not come today, I would have slaughtered all the living beings in this country. Alright, Xiaofan, promise me a few things now, and I can stop the slaughter. The green-robed swordsman smiled at Xiaofan. His expression and tone were as if he had everything under control and was in perfect control of the situation. At this moment, Xiaofan forcibly suppressed the violent killing intent in his heart. His expression became even more calm as water as he looked at the green-robed swordsman indifferently. Indeed, Xiaofan was indeed fearless. First, although the green-robed swordsman was aggressive, he did not dare to kill Xiaofan. Not only did the green-robed swordsman not dare to kill Xiaofan, but any of the immortals that descended did not dare to make a move. Whoever killed Xiaofan would definitely be torn to pieces by the other immortals. Second, Jia Lanzi was behind Xiaofan. This green-robed swordsman had yet to see through Jia Lanzi's true identity. This meant that the green-robed swordsman's cultivation was probably not as good as Jia Lanzi's. Once Jia Lanzi attacked, it was very likely that the green-robed swordsman would be killed. Third, Xiaofan's heart had long been immersed in the immortal Qi talisman. Moreover, Xiaofan had once been suppressed by the demon god soul. Compared to the terrifying and invincible demon god soul, this green-robed swordsman was very immature. One man and one immortal, facing each other with equal harshness. What do you want me to promise you before you are willing to stop the slaughter? Xiaofan asked in a slightly mocking tone. First, demolish all the temples that you built in the secular world. Second, kneel and kowtow in front of everyone and beg for my forgiveness. Third, give me the quota that you have to enter the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. I will distribute it. These are roughly the 3 conditions. If you agree to all of them, then I will allow you to be my servant. You must know. You are just a mortal. A nobody like a sesame seed or a mung bean. It is your fortune to be able to be my servant. If you become my servant, when I achieve my grand plan in the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure and obtain many immortal treasures, I will also reward you with a meal. The green-robed swordsman said complacently. Oh? These conditions? Xiaofan was angry but also felt that it was ridiculous. Let's not talk about the other conditions first. How can I give you the quota for the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure? The 2 immortal keys have already been refined into my body and integrated with my blood and cells. How can I take them out and give them to you? Ha 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 ha, idiot. The green-robed swordsman snorted disdainfully. Open your soul and let me plant a sword imprint in your soul. From now on, you will be under my control and become my puppet. If you have the intention to resist, I will be able to punish you. In this way, the immortal keys that you have refined into your body and all the quotas will be in my hands. As he spoke, the green-robed swordsman's voice became low. He raised his eyes and stared at the clouds in the sky. His eyes revealed a burning greed and desire. His voice was so low that it could not be heard. If I can control Xiaofan and make him my slave, then I can take the opportunity to ask other immortals, or even auction the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. In this way, I can make a lot of money, hee at this moment, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan burst out laughing, as if he had just heard the funniest, most ridiculous joke in the world. Xiaofan, you dog, what are you laughing at? The green-robed swordsman was enraged. Immortals. Are they all so stupid? Xiaofan smiled and looked at the green-robed swordsman. Immortal, is there something wrong with your head? You actually want to turn me into your slave to control me? You want to auction the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure? Ha ha ha. What an idiot. I also have a few things to tell you here. First, you will be deprived of the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Second, you have tortured and killed mortals in the mortal world. Your sin is unforgivable. Therefore, you will definitely die. Ridiculous. Ha ha ha. Really ridiculous. Deprive my quota? And you want me to die? Xiaofan. Oh, your expression is so calm. Oh right, I know. You must think that I don't dare to kill you because your body has the quota to enter the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. So, you think that I will not dare to kill you. Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan, going against me is the same as going against the heavens. Do you know? You are just a mortal. If you go against the heavens, your end will be extremely miserable. Turn into ashes. Who are you? I'm afraid you are just an ordinary level 2 true immortal in the immortal world. How dare you call yourself the heavens? If you are really the heavens, you will also die after committing such a bloody crime. If you are the heavens, I, Xiaofan, will go against the heavens. Xiaofan's aura also soared. You are courting death. The green-robed swordsman's eyes were cold. You are so arrogant. It seems that you have not seen the power of an immortal, so you don't know what is good for you and don't know when to stop. Now, I will show you the difference between a mortal and an immortal. While speaking, the green-robed swordsman's right hand put on the hilt of the sword on his back. Suddenly, the aura of the green-robed swordsman rose rapidly and began to soar crazily. Rays of sword light burst out from the green-robed swordsman's body. These sword lights were extremely fast. The sword chi was like thunder and could destroy ghosts and gods. The aura of a sword immortal spread out wantonly and locked on to Xiaofan. The whole dragon scale empire was completely covered by the sword chi. Everyone was in danger. Everyone was in despair. It was as if they were facing an apocalypse. A catastrophe. Mortal, take one of my swords. This sword will destroy your confidence. It will plant a seed of despair in the depths of your heart. It will make you develop inner demons. In this life, you will live under this shadow forever. In this way, your cultivation will decline if you don't improve, and you will not be able to become an immortal in the future. Although I won't kill you, this sword will make you wish you were dead. The green-robed swordsman said coldly. To be continued. Chapter 570. This green-robed swordsman was indeed vicious and cruel. He did not dare to kill Xiaofan, but he also wanted to slash at Xiaofan. This slash was extremely sinister, and it was meant to destroy Xiaofan's faith. For a martial artist, there was nothing more important than confidence. In other words, the green-robed swordsman wanted to cripple Xiaofan with a single slash. At this time, Jia Lanzi was still standing behind Xiaofan like a rock, not making a move. In a split second, various thoughts flashed through Jia Lanzi's mind. This divine swordsman humiliated Brother Xiao in front of him, trying to use his power to suppress and control Brother Xiao. Between Brother Xiao and him, there is already enmity. Now, he threatened to cripple Brother Xiao with a single slash, which is tantamount to declaring war on Brother Xiao. If I act rashly and block it for Brother Xiao, with Brother Xiao's temperament, it will indeed be disadvantageous. If Brother Xiao can block this slash, it will be the opposite. It will be of great benefit to Brother Xiao's future cultivation. At this moment, Xiaofan knew that he was facing an attack from an immortal. He had to use all his strength to block this attack. Boom! Xiaofan's entire body was like a raging river, and his true energy was also surging intensely. More importantly, Xiaofan's mental energy was completely concentrated, and the solid mental energy star in his sea of consciousness began to compress. Compress. Compress again. Xiaofan's current state had already reached its peak. Moreover, he had entered a strange state. Everything around him seemed to be far away from him, and he no longer cared about life or death, or success or failure. Even Jia Lanzi behind him. All of them had been ignored by Xiaofan. The highly compressed mental energy star. This caused Xiaofan's thinking and reaction speed to increase exponentially, and he even developed a mysterious sixth sense. It was as if he could vaguely capture the trajectory and arc of the green-robed swordsman's slash. Although Xiaofan was invincible in the secular world, Jia Lanzi wasn't a match for him. After understanding the power of an immortal, Xiaofan knew his limits. It was impossible for him to take a blow from the green-robed swordsman head-on with his current abilities. Although he had a special dual attribute embryonic immortal physique and the indestructible golden body, it was very likely that his body would be pierced by the sharpness of the sword. Even if he managed to withstand it, the sword chi would invade his body. It would also destroy Xiaofan's life force. He could only hide. However, if he wanted to dodge this attack, The best way was to summon his demonic chi and cast a demonic technique, such as illusory movement. That way, there was an 80% chance that he would be able to dodge. However, Xiaolanzi was by Xiaohan's side to protect him, so Xiaohan didn't dare to recklessly use his demonic powers or demonic techniques. He didn't want Xiaolanzi to see through him. It was better to be safe than sorry. So, Xiaohan's greatest reliance now was his mental strength. What tyrannical spiritual power! After Xiaochen strengthened his mental energy, not only were his attacks as fast as lightning, but he could also casually execute techniques. Furthermore, with his saber intent, he could even move his saber at will. Moreover, when his mental energy was strong enough, his reaction speed was also as fast as the speed of light. I'll use my mental energy to dodge this immortal sword. Humph. You're dreaming if you want to destroy my faith. On the other hand, if this sword doesn't kill me, then this immortal will be useless. Wasn't it a great humiliation for an immortal to return empty-handed after unleashing a sword strike against a mortal? Extraordinary humiliation? Fine. You want to destroy me, so I'll destroy you instead. Although I, Xiaohan, am a mortal, far inferior to an immortal in many aspects. I'm afraid that even a perfected immortal can't compare to me in terms of mental energy. Yes. I'll play to my strengths and avoid my weaknesses. Use my mental energy to dodge this sword. Xiaohan's thoughts became clearer and clearer. It was as if he could see everything clearly. As a result, in a split second, Xiaohan had already sorted out his thoughts and come up with a plan to deal with it. Xiaohan. Accept your punishment. At this moment, the Divine Sword Prince finally finished his preparation and slashed out with an earth-shattering sword. Although the Divine Sword Prince was arrogant, he was no fool. He knew that if he couldn't destroy Xiaohan's confidence, then he would be the one whose confidence would be destroyed. The Divine Sword Prince could also see that Xiaohan was invincible in the mortal world. With his skills, if he ascended to the immortal realm, he would be able to defeat some of the weakest level 1 perfected immortals. Therefore, the Divine Sword Prince used a little bit of immortal chi in this sword in order to establish an invincible position. Xiaohan, you ant. Although my level of life far surpasses yours and I can crush you as easily as crushing an ant, I won't go so far as to use immortal chi to hurt you and bully the weak. In that case, you will be defeated by my understanding and talent in the sword Dao. I'll make you accept it wholeheartedly. This sword will cripple you. Xiao, the sword came for the kill. The sword god descends. This sword slashed out a long river of sword chi. On this long river of sword chi, there were turtles, snakes, dragons, tigers, and countless immortal chi. With a slight shake, thousands of shadows appeared. Each shadow was a peerless swordsman holding a sword and practicing a powerful sword art. This sword actually contained tens of thousands of sets of brilliant sword techniques. Every move and every style was the best in the world, oppressing the mortal world, shocking the heavens and earth, and killing gods and ghosts. In a breath's time, the sword was already close to Xiaohan's body. Thousands of exquisite and profound sword arts almost sealed off all of Xiaohan's escape routes. This sword looked like a single sword, but it was actually the amalgamation of thousands of swords. The essence was extracted and the impurities were removed to obtain a powerful sword art. This sword contained the curve of the Tao. Between the exquisite workmanship, there was an ethereal feeling of the work of the gods. It was impossible for mortals to defend against this sword. They couldn't dodge this sword either. They could only stretch out their necks and accept the punishment. At this moment, Xiaolanzi, who was standing behind Xiaohan, could not help but exclaim in a low voice. All his immortal chi gathered in his right hand, ready to block this sword for Xiaohan at any time. This was because Xiaolanzi could see that this sword from Divine Swordsman was definitely not to be trifled with. It was not a casual attack, but one that had been prepared for a long time and contained some immortal chi. This sword is almost unsolvable by mortals. The sword sect of the immortal world focuses on sword Tao. There are countless sword immortals under them. Indeed, they live up to their reputation. This is divine swordsman's sword art. 10,000 swords return to origin. Everywhere it goes, it becomes a chaotic universe, a world of swords. Although Brother Zhao's potential is endless, potential is still potential. It seems that he will definitely not be able to block this sword. Jia Lanzi's vision was profound. He also judged that Xiaofan would not be able to survive this sword. And at this moment, Xiaofan, when facing divine swordsman's sword, Xiaofan finally understood the terror of sword immortals. Xiaofan also knew that divine swordsman's sword did not contain much immortal qi, but the profoundness of this sword was beyond Xiaofan's understanding. This sword blossomed with a resplendent luster, and space was torn apart like silk. Within the sword qi, there was a decadent sound that could take one's life. It was like the twilight of the gods. Space and time were frozen. In the frozen space, countless sword qi penetrated, practicing an extremely gentle and lingering sword technique. It was like traces of spring rain, seeping into the night, hiding in one's dreams, causing one to unknowingly die. An extremely terrifying feeling crept up Xiaohan's spine. This caused Xiaohan's back to be covered in a cold sweat. Imminent danger. Xiaohan knew that life and death were hanging by a thread. The most critical moment had arrived. Boom! The solid mental power star in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness compressed again. It shrank to the size of a peanut. This caused Xiaohan's thinking speed and reaction speed to double. His mind became clearer and clearer. His mind became clear. Xiaohan was actually extremely calm. Divine swordsman's peerless invincible sword technique, and endless sword qi, in Xiaohan's eyes, slowed down. Moreover, a subtle sixth sense had also descended upon Xiaohan's soul, allowing him to vaguely make premonitions. Xiaohan. Get hit. Divine swordsman's cold and arrogant voice rang in Xiaohan's ears. At this moment, I've grasped it. This is the only flaw in this sword technique. Xiaohan's mental power was highly concentrated, and he actually saw the only way out of this sword technique. In the blink of an eye, in the time it takes for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, Xiaohan's body flashed, and from a completely unimaginable angle, he flashed out of the dense and deadly sword lights. This was the only flaw. He was actually found by Xiaohan. What? Divine swordsman's sword technique was already finished, and Xiaohan dodged at the most critical moment. This caused divine swordsman to have no time to change his technique, and no time to fix the flaw in the sword technique. In the blink of an eye, the sword that was about to injure Xiaohan completely missed. This caused the immortal qi in divine swordsman's body to become somewhat chaotic, as if he had punched a cotton ball. He dodged it? He actually dodged this sword technique? Jia Lanzi was also extremely shocked. He had originally wanted to block this sword technique for Xiaohan. He had already determined that Xiaohan could only bow his head in submission under this sword technique. However, Xiaohan had dodged at the critical moment. Brother Xiao calculated the only flaw in this sword technique, and his prediction of the sword's trajectory was extremely accurate. When dodging this sword technique, in fact, a moment later or a moment earlier would have made a difference. If I was a bit late, I wouldn't have been able to dodge the edge of the sword, and if I was a bit early, I would have sent my body to this sword, allowing myself to be slaughtered. Furthermore, Brother Zhao's grasp of timing is also perfect. Amazing. Too amazing. Mortals, even level 1 true immortals of the celestial world, would not be able to dodge this sword technique, but Brother Zhao's exquisite calculation allowed him to successfully dodge it. Amazing. Too amazing. This is enough to show how tyrannical Brother Zhao's soul and mental strength are. Only when one's thinking and reaction speed has reached a certain realm can one make such exquisite calculations in the blink of an eye. Utterly defeated. This sword technique completely defeated Divine Swordsman. He used the sword technique of the Celestial World Sword Sect and a trace of immortal chi to attack Brother Xiao, but he actually failed. If an immortal wants to attack a mortal, he must succeed. Once he fails, his immortal heart will be affected, leaving a flaw that will greatly hinder his future cultivation. An immortal failing to kill a mortal with one sword technique is a great humiliation in the celestial world. If the sect finds out about this, Divine Swordsman might even be expelled from the sect. At this moment, because of this sword technique's failure, Divine Swordsman's meticulously brewed sword technique was like a stone sinking into the ocean. This caused Divine Swordsman's entire body's blood and immortal chi to flow in reverse. Moreover, he was extremely angry and ashamed. Divine Swordsman actually spat out a mouthful of blood. To be continued. Chapter 571. The Divine Sword Sun had descended from the heavens and wanted to destroy Xiaofan's faith with one sword strike. Then, he would be able to control Xiaofan. However, he did not expect that his sword strike would be useless. This caused the Divine Sword Sun to spit out a mouthful of blood. As for Xiaofan, after dodging this sword strike, his entire body was drenched in cold sweat. To be able to dodge this sword strike was not easy. It practically squeezed out all of Xiaofan's potential. It even caused Xiaofan's essence, qi, and spirit to be greatly consumed. The solid mental power star in his sea of consciousness was slightly deflated. He needed a lot of rest to recover the damage to his mental power. Facing this sword strike just now, Xiaofan knew that it was the closest he had ever been to death. Even if it was just a little bit earlier or a little bit later, his body would still be injured. The Immortal is too powerful. Really too powerful. It was just a casual sword strike, but I had to exhaust all of my strength to be able to dodge it. Xiaofan was not complacent. However, after successfully dodging this sword strike, Xiaofan seemed to have completed an unbelievable experience. In his body, the position of the 71st true meridian actually transmitted a vague throbbing. It was as if the 71st true meridian had been stimulated by this sword strike. It actually showed signs of breaking out of its cocoon. The immortal sword strike caused Xiaofan, who had fallen into a bottleneck and could not advance an inch in his true chi realm, to be in a trance. There were signs of a breakthrough. At this moment, bastard. Mortal. Ant. The Divine Sword Sun was here at this moment. His face was covered in blood and his appearance was extremely hideous and terrifying. His eyes shot out a demented and ruthless light. He had lost all of his face and a huge flaw was left in his heart. An immortal not being able to kill a mortal was simply a disgrace to the entire immortal world. This kind of thing had probably never happened since the existence of the immortal world. The current Divine Sword Sun could not only be described as flustered and exasperated. He was like an emperor sitting on his throne. He was slapped in the face by a beggar. He was also like an arrogant young lady of a rich family being trampled on by a farmer who worked in the fields. If he did not strike Xiaofan's sword strike and eliminate his inner demons, from today onwards. The Divine Sword Sun was crippled. With this demonic barrier, even if the Divine Sword Child could enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure after a few years, he would definitely be killed by other immortals. Cut the crap. Your spot to enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure is revoked. Furthermore, you must die. Xiaofan would never yield. Ha ha ha. Mortals like pigs and dogs. Now, I want to see whether you or I will die. The Divine Sword Prince had completely thrown caution to the wind. All the immortal chi in his body gathered at the tip of his sword. The space shrank and collapsed. He raised his sword and slashed at Xiaofan. This sword was powerful enough to kill an ordinary level 2 true immortal. Just now, when he slashed out, the entire plane space crystal barrier was shattered. They were all in a terrifying state of being caved in. The sun and moon had lost their light. Although my thoughts can keep up with this sword, my physical body has already been sealed. There's nowhere for me to dodge. What a pity. If my fleshly body was twice as strong, even 3 times stronger. In that case, I can also dodge this sword. Xiaofan sighed inwardly. Yes, Xiaohan's soul-mind power was strong enough. The speed of his thoughts could definitely keep up with the Divine Sword Son's invincible sword technique. However, because his body and true chi were too weak, they did not match his soul-mind power. Therefore, his soul-mind power could not control the true chi in his body immediately. He dodged the Divine Sword Son's furious sword strike. I'll kill you with one strike. The Divine Sword Son was furious. At this time, Xiaolanzi finally broke his silence. Enough. Divine Sword Son. You're a disgrace to us immortals. Xiaolanzi's right hand reached out. This grab did not have the slightest fluctuation of immortal chi. In fact, it did not look fast. It was like a casual grab from an ordinary person who did not know martial arts. However, with such a casual grab, the domineering sword light that filled the sky evaporated and disappeared without a trace. The space crystal barrier that was cut into pieces by the sword light was instantly repaired. What? The Divine Sword Son was shocked. His eyes bulged as he stared at Xiaolanzi. Xiaolanzi shook his head slightly and took a step forward. The wind blew, causing the veil covering Xiaolanzi's face to flutter slightly, revealing a bit of his original appearance. Xiaolanzi. Xiaolanzi, so it's you. You've actually been hiding beside Xiaofan. You. Good, Xiaofan. So it turns out that the reason why your expression hasn't changed is because you're relying on Xiaolanzi's power. At this moment, deep fear and even fear appeared in Shenjianzi's eyes. It was obvious that he was extremely afraid of Xiaolanzi. Divine Sword Son, do you have any shame? Brother Xiao is immortal. Your sword strike was countered by Brother Xiao. You actually have no grace and used your immortal chi to forcefully kill Brother Xiao. You want to destroy the hundreds of spots to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove, right? If you really do such a thing, not only will you die, but your entire sect will be instantly destroyed. Killing Brother Xiao is a heinous crime. Xiaolanzi scolded coldly. This. Being scolded by Xiaolanzi, Divine Sword Son seemed to wake up from a dream. His heart was filled with lingering fear. Yes, if Xiaolanzi did not stop him in time and allowed him to kill Xiaohan, then the sect he was in the immortal world would definitely be destroyed by the immortal emperors. Xiaolanzi, I was just scaring Xiaohan. I definitely wouldn't kill him. My sword technique is very flexible. At the crucial moment, even if you didn't stop me, I wouldn't really. Shut up. Xiaolanzi shouted. Divine Sword Son, let's not talk about the matter of plotting against Brother Xiao for now. However, as an immortal, you actually disobeyed the rules after descending to the mortal realm, massacring nations and cities. Why is that? Who gave you the guts? Xiaolanzi. Divine Sword Son was still arrogant just now, but now, he was trembling in fear of Xiaolanzi, like a mouse seeing a cat. Xiaohan, who was watching from the side, was amazed. It seemed that Xiaolanzi had quite a high position in the immortal world. However, it could also be said that Xiaolanzi's sect was very powerful in the immortal world. Ordinary sect disciples did not dare to provoke Xiaolanzi. The current Xiaolanzi had a domineering aura. Divine Sword Sun tried his best to argue. Jialanzi, why are you so serious? They're just mortals. Their lives are like pigs and dogs. It's not a big deal to kill them. Jialanzi, I know that you've always been upright. However, even if I kill a nest of ants, you don't have to argue with me, right? How about this, I'll give you face. From now on, before entering the second floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault, I won't kill these mortals. How about it? I'll stop. You won't have the chance to enter the second floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault, Jialanzi said coldly. What? Why? Impossible. Why is that? Divine Sword Sun argued in horror. I only killed some mortals. Why did you deprive me of my quota? Mortals are also living beings. Divine Sword Sun, you used your strength to bully the weak. That's a heinous crime. Moreover, the sect master, elders, and even the immortal emperors have already given the order. The quota to enter the second floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure vault will be given to Brother Xiao. No one is allowed to object. Brother Xiao's words represent the sect master and the various elders of our sect. Even the words of the immortal emperors above. Divine Sword Sun, you don't have the quota anymore. Moreover, Brother Xiao said that he wants to punish you. Then, let me, Jialanzi, clean up the sect. You want to kill me? Divine Sword Sun was extremely frightened. However, Jialanzi was also decisive. As soon as his voice fell, his right hand directly grabbed towards Divine Sword Sun. It's not that easy to kill me, Divine Sword Sun. Divine Sword Sun was not someone who would sit and wait for death. He bared his teeth and summoned his immortal force. His sword swept towards Jialanzi. This sword contained endless transformations. It completely displayed the power of a sword immortal. One sword to break 10,000 laws, one sword to subdue 10,000 demons. One sword to intimidate 10,000 immortals. Insignificant skill. Once he made his move, the usually gentle Jialanzi was incomparably domineering. Absolute power directly suppressed his opponent. Above his right hand, countless holy light and immortal characters burst out, instantly shattering Divine Sword Sun's killing sword technique. Then, his hand grabbed Divine Sword Sun's chest. Puchi. A piece of flesh on Divine Sword Sun's chest was ripped off, causing blood to burst out. Roar. Divine Sword Sun burst out with a heart-wrenching scream. In the blink of an eye, Divine Sword Sun's body suddenly exploded, turning into countless sword lights that flew in all directions. What a great life-saving treasure. I didn't expect that the Immortal World Sword Sect would actually give this treasure to you. Jialanzi was shocked, but very quickly, his right hand repeatedly grabbed out. After images flickered, instantly destroying countless escaping sword lights. However, there were still a few sword lights that disappeared without a trace. In an extremely distant place, as if in the crevice of space, Divine Sword Sun's weak and resentful voice came out. Xiaofan. 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 I will kill you. I will definitely kill you. Just you wait. I will kill your entire family. Puff! Jialanzi used holy light to evaporate a bloody thing in his hand and then moved to Xiaohan's side. Brother Xiao, he ran away. Huh? Xiaohan snorted with slight dissatisfaction. I'm sorry, Brother Xiao. Jialanzi blushed with shame. Originally, when it came to killing immortals, would do my best if I could avoid killing them. However, this Divine Sword Sun has indeed gone too far. That's why I did my best just now. However, I didn't expect the Celestial World Sword Sect to hand over their strongest life-saving treasure to Divine Sword Sun. Once this treasure is activated, it will turn into countless rays of sword light that will scatter in all directions. Then, the rays of sword light will reform into a physical form. Unless all the sword lights are destroyed, even if one sword light escapes, Divine Sword Sun will not die. However, Brother Xiao, I destroyed 3/4 of the sword lights just now. Even if Divine Sword Sun uses the remaining sword lights to reform his body, his cultivation will definitely fall. His immortal power will be damaged. Jia Lanzi said with certainty. After being injured, Divine Sword Sun will probably fall from a level 2 true immortal to a level 1 true immortal. Moreover, Brother Xiao, don't worry. I have already locked onto Divine Sword Sun's divine soul. Unless he hibernates, I can chase him for 1,000 miles if he appears. Xiaofan nodded slightly. Then, Brother Jia Lanzi, after I settle the Dragon Scale Empire, I will continue to search for immortals in the eastern region with you. As he spoke, thoughts surged in Xiaofan's mind. No. My battle power is too weak compared to immortals. Forget it. I must refine the Earth God's demon subduing pearl. I must condense an immortal body. Otherwise, competing with immortals is tantamount to asking for humiliation. In Xiaofan's heart, a roar and a cry erupted. I must increase my battle power. I cannot delay. Chapter 572. After the confrontation with Divine Sword Prince, Xiaofan's heart was filled with anxiety and unease even though he managed to block Divine Sword Prince's first strike. If Xiaofan were to truly face an immortal, or even fight with him, it would indeed be very difficult for him to shake an immortal if he couldn't reveal his demonic energy and demonic techniques. He might even be killed in a second. Even if he used all kinds of demonic powers and demonic techniques at will, he would only end up running for his life. Aggrieved. Deeply aggrieved. If it weren't for Jia Lanzi, Xiaofan would have been killed by the enraged Divine Sword Prince. In the next few years, I'm destined to have dealings with more immortals. These immortals couldn't all be as kind as Master Godly Diviner, Master Tao Tai, and Master Shi Yangzi. There would definitely be people like Master Godly Sword, or even immortals even more savage than Master Godly Sword. Could it be that I, Xiaofan, have to rely on Master Jia Lanzi to step forward and protect my life every time? This is no different from charity. How can I, Xiaofan, tolerate charity? How can I, Xiaofan, rely on others? Xiaofan's heart was filled with ruthlessness. It's urgent to increase my combat strength. If I can refine the Earth God's demon subduing pearl, that would be the best. If I can't, I'll refine it by force. After spending several days, Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi finally settled the disaster in the Dragon Scale Empire. Moreover, during these days, Jia Lanzi's mind wandered and his divine soul searched for Divine Sword Prince in this realm, but he found nothing. This made Jia Lanzi extremely confused. It's really strange. After being beaten by me, Divine Sword Prince didn't even reveal a trace of his aura. He hid himself very well. Did he leave this realm? Did he go to another realm, or did he return to the immortal realm? Or is he hiding in some cracks in this realm that I can't find him? It's okay. Xiaofan's eyes were also filled with determination. Divine Sword Prince is just an arrow at the end of its flight, and his rank has dropped. Even if he's still hiding in this realm, he won't dare to come out and cause trouble. If he really comes out again, I'll definitely kill him. I'll avenge the people of the Dragon Scale Empire. Jia Lanzi could feel the hatred and determination in Xiaofan's voice. He couldn't help but feel suffocated. Xiaofan took a deep breath and said slowly, "Brother Jialan, I've been thinking hard these few days. I've decided, before I continue to search for the scattered immortals, I'll find a place to cultivate for a short period of time." Jia Lanzi understood the meaning behind the song and looked deeply at Xiaofan. If I'm not wrong, Brother Xiao is preparing to refine that Earth God demon subduing pearl in order to forcefully create an immortal body, right? Xiaofan remained silent. The determination in his eyes became even more intense. It was the divine sword master who provoked Brother Xiao. Jia Lanzi also sighed. Yes, Brother Xiao is a peerless genius. He could not tolerate any grievances in his life. Even in the face of an immortal, Brother Xiao still has his own pride. However, Brother Xiao forcibly refined an immortal artifact with the body of a mortal. This. Brother Jialan, I have made up my mind. Xiaofan smiled indifferently. I just want to maintain my dignity in front of the immortals. I can even kill those immortals who commit atrocities in the mortal world. For this, I will do whatever it takes. Let's return to the Devil Hero region secretly. I'm going to choose a spirit house in the Devil Hero Pagoda and abandon all distracting thoughts. I'll focus on refining the Earth God Demon Subduing Pearl. Xiaohan said decisively and paused for a moment. If Brother Jialan is worried about me, you can protect me. At this point, Xiaohan couldn't help but laugh. With Brother Jialan's ability, even if I'm in the process of refining, I won't die. If something goes wrong, I think he definitely won't die. Brother Jialan will definitely be able to remedy the situation in time. In that case, let's stop searching for the scattered immortals and return to the Devil Hero region. Jia Lanzi did not say anything else and agreed with Xiaohan's idea. Devil Hero region. Devil Hero Pagoda. 12 elders surrounded Xiaohan. Leader Xiaohan, that immortal Jia Lanzi, we've already properly settled him down. An elder said timidly. Although he's an immortal, Mr. Jia Lanzi is very kind and doesn't put on airs at all. If every immortal who descends to our plane is like Mr. Jia Lanzi, it would be great. However, we heard that an evil immortal appeared in the Dragon Scale Empire in the eastern region. He tortured and killed us mortals at will. Fortunately, Leader Xiaohan and Mr. Jia Lanzi attacked and injured him. It was Brother Jialan who repelled the Divine Sword Prince. As a mortal, it's really difficult for me to fight against an immortal. If we really fought, I would be killed instantly. Xiaohan laughed at himself. Hiss. The 12 elders were all shocked. With Leader Xiaohan's combat strength, he still can't fight against an immortal. Forget it. Let's not talk about this anymore. I'll enter the spirit house and focus on cultivation now. You guys wait outside. Xiaohan waved his hand and left directly. In a spirit house in the Devil Hero Pagoda. Whether it succeeds or not depends on this. Xiaohan sat cross-legged and murmured in a low voice. Then, Xiaohan took out the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl from his storage ring. The Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl floated in front of Xiaohan. An earthy yellow aura spread out wantonly. It contained a great thousand world and hundreds of thousands of immortal mountains, passing through it continuously. It was incomparably heavy and domineering. This is an immortal artifact Dharma treasure. If an immortal uses it, it can shatter a planet and directly crush a huge planet into powder. However, if I use this Dharma treasure, it'll be a waste. I won't be able to unleash much power. It's better to refine it into my body so that I can create an immortal body. Xiaohan released his mental strength and covered the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl. Although the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl was only a little bigger than a fist, Xiaohan's mental strength could barely cover it completely. Hiss! How magical! My psyche waves can easily cover the entire plane, and I can even slightly extend it to other planes. However, it's extremely strenuous to cover this Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl. It's many times heavier than our entire plane. Xiaohan calmed his mind and abandoned all distracting thoughts. He began to use his mental strength to penetrate the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl bit by bit, looking for a way to refine it. At the same time, he also activated the indestructible golden body to protect his blood vessels, bones, internal organs, and cells. First, I have to break down the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl. Then, I have to refine it like how I refined the Thunder God's body-tempering pill and the Earth Emperor's body-tempering pill. Xiaohan's mind was completely immersed in his thoughts. This Earth God's demon-subduing pearl is an immortal artifact refined from the essence of hundreds of thousands of immortal mountains. It's an immortal artifact that was refined from the essence of a few tens of thousands of immortal mountains. If I want to break it down, I absolutely can't do it forcefully. I'm afraid that even Brother Jialan would have to expend a great deal of effort to break it down. With my strength, forcefully breaking down the earthly god-devil subduing pearl is absolutely impossible. Wuxia Tower. In a clean and refreshing resting room, Jialan Zi was drinking tea alone. His immortal sense covered the entire Wuxia Tower. To refine the earth god's demon-subduing pearl, I have to break it down first. Why did I say that Brother Xiao is immortal? It's almost impossible to refine an immortal treasure. It's because the first step, breaking down an immortal treasure, is extremely difficult for mortals. I wonder how Brother Xiao will deal with it. Jialan Zi frowned slightly. Xiaohan's mental strength constantly observed the earth god's demon-subduing pearl and learned some things. The immortal talismans sealed the essence of hundreds of thousands of immortal mountains. Moreover, it absorbed endless earth energy from the celestial realm to create this treasure. To break it down, I have to do 2 steps. First, use the earth elemental energy in my body to actively attract the earth elemental energy contained in the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. Attract it out. Second, the immortal talismans are connected, but there must be a loophole. I have to find this loophole and use my saber intent to cut it. As long as I cut the connection between any 2 immortal talismans, this immortal treasure will become unstable and then collapse. Xiaohan's thoughts were extremely clear. He found a way to break down the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, from the surface of Xiaohan's body, yellow energy spots suddenly bloomed and seeped into the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. As expected. Soon, Xiaohan's earth physique resonated with the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. The originally motionless earth god's demon-subduing pearl began to move rhythmically. Vaguely, the earth god's demon-subduing pearl had a sign of pouncing on Xiaohan. At the same time, Xiaohan's mental strength was completely focused, searching for the immortal talismans on the earth god's demon-subduing pearl that were not connected tightly enough. He searched for a full hour. Finally, found it. Hundreds of millions of immortal talismans were used to create this immortal treasure. Originally, the connection between each immortal talisman was perfect, but I still found it. There's a tiny gap between these 2 talismans. Break it. Break it. In the blink of an eye, Xiaohan took out his saber intent, condensed it into a point, and directly cut the gap between the 2 immortal talismans. Poof, the saber cut through. Boom. 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 The sound of something collapsing came from the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. Suddenly, a gap appeared on the earth god's demon-subduing pearl. A small part of the sphere began to break down. The bigger part of the sphere that was connected to the immortal talismans did not break down immediately. Instead, it began to loosen. Boom! First, a small part of the broken sphere was directly attracted by the earth physique in Xiaohan's body, and directly pounced at Xiaohan. Refine. Xiaohan took out his indestructible golden body, and golden light surged. It wrapped around the small part of the sphere. However, bang, in an instant, Xiaohan was directly blown away by this small part of the sphere. Poof! Xiaohan looked up and spat out a mouthful of blood. His internal organs were already seriously injured. It's just a small piece of the sphere. Even I can't handle the energy contained in it. Xiaohan was shocked. This earth god's demon-subduing pearl had only been broken down by Xiaohan into 1% of the fragments, but Xiaohan still could not refine it. Not only could he not refine it, but he was also in a state of being suppressed to death. Boom! The small fragment that had been broken down, without any deviation, directly pounced towards Xiaofan again. Boom! This small fragment had crushed Xiaofan to the ground. Ah! Xiaofan felt that he was being suppressed by the mountains. He could not turn around at all. All the bones and meridians in his body had exploded, and he was seriously injured. He kept spitting out blood. Moreover, what shocked Xiaofan even more was that the remaining sphere was also rumbling and shaking, and gradually, it was about to break down. Once the entire sphere broke down and exploded, Xiaofan would definitely be crushed to pieces. Moreover, perhaps the entire Devil Hero region would be blown to pieces. Chapter 573. Just a small piece of Earth God's demon subduing pearl was enough to crush Xiaofan. Many of his bones were crushed and even some of his meridians were broken. Roar! At this moment, Xiaofan was filled with grief, disappointment, and unwillingness. I can't refine this immortal artifact? I'm immortal, I really can't refine an immortal artifact? Am I going to be imprisoned and unable to condense an immortal body in the mortal world? My combat power is stagnant and I'm being played by an immortal? No. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. In the lounge. It's broken down. Jia Lanzi put down the teacup in his hand and stood up. Brother Xiao is indeed an anomaly among mortals. You actually forcefully broke down the Earth God's demon subduing pearl. TSK, breaking down an immortal artifact. Even a level 1 or 2 perfected immortal can't do this. I didn't expect a mortal like Brother Xiao to be able to do this. However, even though it's broken down, Brother Xiao can't refine it. Looking at it now, Brother Xiao is already in imminent danger. The broken-down immortal artifact fragment is going to crush Brother Xiao into powder. I can also feel Brother Xiao's resentment and unwillingness. Brother Xiao, you shouldn't be like this. You should know that this is a magic treasure that can kill immortals. This is not something a mortal can refine. Brother Xiao, you shouldn't be resentful and unwilling. Now, Jia Lanzi gathered all his immortal power and essence, ready to save Xiaofan at any time. The entire Wuxia pagoda seemed to be under a huge gravity and began to shake, showing signs that it was about to collapse. This was because Xiaofan had endured most of the pressure from the immortal artifact fragment and only a little bit of the gravity wave leaked out. Otherwise, the entire Wuxia tower would have exploded. Xiaofan was under heavy pressure. Now, Xiaofan was under heavy pressure. A small piece of immortal artifact fragment was equivalent to thousands of immortal mountains, crushing Xiaofan to death. He couldn't breathe. If it wasn't for Xiaofan having a special dual attribute immortal body and the protection of the indestructible golden body, Xiaofan would have been crushed into a meat patty. Moreover, the biggest hidden danger was that the entire Earth God's demon subduing pearl was about to explode. Rumbling could be heard, similar to the sound of mountains collapsing and stars disintegrating. Xiaofan was determined. The invincible golden body technique was pushed to the limit. Golden light surged out from his entire body, enveloping the immortal artifact fragment and madly refining it. Unfortunately, the earth element contained in this celestial artifact fragment was too rich. It was so violent that even Xiaofan's indestructible golden body technique could not refine it as smoothly as he refined the Earth Emperor's body refining pill. This hard bone was extremely difficult to chew. Could it be that I'm too naive? Is it impossible for a mortal to refine a celestial artifact? Xiaofan bared his teeth. Just at the moment of imminent peril, suddenly, a thought flashed through Xiaofan's mind. Wait. The reason why I can't refine this celestial artifact fragment is because the earth element it contains is too strong. For example, if my body and the indestructible golden body are like an ant, I can't refine it. This celestial artifact fragment is like an elephant. An ant can't eat an elephant unless I break it down into countless ant-sized objects. Break it down into parts. At the critical moment, a bold idea was brewing in Xiaofan's mind. Since I can't refine such a big piece, then I'll break it. Kang, all of a sudden, the perfection stage natal saber intent that was entrenched in the solid mental energy planet in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness flew out like snowflakes. Tens of thousands of saber lights slashed at the celestial artifact fragment. This immortal artifact fragment had been formed from the essence of countless immortal mountains and earth elements. After Xiaofan's psychic power solidified, his carelessness in the great accomplishment stage had reached the acme of perfection. At this moment of life and death, he could slash out with his natal saber chi, which could slash anything in the void. Puff! 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 Following that, the celestial artifact fragment bloomed like fireworks. The intense earthy yellow light mixed with the saber lights flew in all directions. Xiaofan's perfection stage natal saber intent could split a small celestial artifact fragment into tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of pieces. It was equivalent to cutting the celestial artifact fragment into densely packed dust. In the shape of particles. All of a sudden, the gravity that was suppressing Xiaofan disappeared. Xiaofan felt relaxed. All right. Ha ha ha. I think it's done. Xiaofan was overjoyed. It seemed that his intuition was correct. Xiaofan didn't have the ability to destroy this celestial artifact fragment. However, the perfection stage natal saber intent could cut this celestial artifact fragment into pieces. Because this celestial artifact fragment was composed of elemental energy, not a solid object. Since the perfection stage natal saber intent could even cut through nothingness, naturally, it could cut an entire element into countless densely packed elemental particles. Absorb. Refine. Xiaofan didn't dare to hesitate. He activated the immortal golden body incantation to the extreme again. The golden light swept out like a tornado, wrapping up the earthy yellow earth energy that was spreading out. Boom. Refine. Puff. 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 As the golden light wrapped around the earthy yellow earth energy, it began to break down. Then, it turned into streams of heat that merged with Xiaofan's blood and genes. It merged with Xiaofan's cells and pores. It merged with Xiaofan's meridians and bones. It made Xiaofan feel like he was soaking in a hot spring. Because the celestial artifact fragment had been cut into pieces, it wasn't too difficult for Xiaofan to refine it now. Moreover, Xiaofan's body already had a certain level of foundation. With the help of the immortal golden body incantation, the densely packed earth energy quickly merged with Xiaofan's body. It constantly changed Xiaofan's bodily functions, causing Xiaofan's body and even his life level to continuously evolve. It was as if he was reborn. There was even a sense of transcendence. Streams of earth energy condensed into earth dragons, earth snakes, earth dragons, earth birds, and great walls. These earth dragons and earth snakes circled around Xiaofan. Powerful vitality and celestial aura were injected into Xiaofan's body. In an instant, Xiaofan's flesh actually glowed with an intense earthy yellow color. Moreover, each piece of flesh was incomparably strong and impregnable. Xiaofan's entire body was glowing with an earthy yellow luster. It seemed like his body, cells, and meridians. His blood vessels had all evolved into celestial bodies, stars, meteorites, stars. It actually gave off a sense of immortality. Later on, Xiaofan's blood vessels and meridians also glowed with a divine luster. Every drop of his blood seemed to have evolved into yellow crystals. His blood had almost solidified. It was as solid as gemstones and heavenly crystals. The surface of his skin was even more dazzling. It released a terrifying defensive ability. Moreover, the current Xiaofan. Not only did his defensive ability increase, but his strength was also increasing. The power of his body broke through the shackles and continued to soar. Xiaohan's celestial aura became stronger and stronger. It shone brightly. At this moment, it was the Earth God Demon subduing pearl. Once again, another fragment flew out. Boom, the fragment moved horizontally. It was like a mountain pressing down on Xiaofan. This time, Xiaofan no longer hesitated. He was very familiar with it. He activated his great accomplishment Natal Saber Intent and once again cut this fragment into billions of earthy yellow light spots. He absorbed it again. Refine. Ha 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 ha. Nourishing. Who said that mortals can't refine immortal artifacts? Ha 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 ha. Finally, Xiaofan let out a loud, triumphant laugh. Of course, a mortal refining an immortal artifact was something that could only happen to Xiaofan. In the vast universe, there were countless ordinary planes. No mortal, no matter if they were at the Tower Master level or the Elder level, could refine the Earth God Demon subduing pearl immortal artifact like Xiaofan. This was because Xiaofan had several prerequisites to refine immortal artifacts. None of them could be missing. First, the powerful strength of his flesh. Second, he had the starry sky and earth attributes in his body. Third, the great accomplishment Saber Intent, the supreme saber energy that could cut through the void. Fourth, the mental strength that was comparable to an immortal. These conditions had to be met at the same time to be able to refine this immortal artifact. Otherwise, he would definitely not be able to refine it. Instead, he would go mad and self-destruct. Right now, Xiaofan was like a taotai, gulping down the incomparably pure energy of the earth like a whale. His body was surrounded by yellow air currents, surging and filled with immortal energy that couldn't be found in the mundane world. This energy was bright, pure, noble, and holy. It was like heaven, like the world of immortals. Xiaohan's body was also becoming more and more detached from the mundane world. Deep in his pores, the purest immortal energy was born. Clouds shot out, immortal energy overflowed, and all sorts of strange phenomena appeared. Xiaohan's body was being transformed. Every cell, every blood vessel, seemed to have been opened up into an independent world. Inside the blood vessels, the cell walls crystallized, forming a spatial crystal wall. This spatial crystal wall was 10 times, no, more than 100 times stronger than the spatial crystal wall of the mundane world Xiaofan was in, and the thickness was still increasing. The increase in strength was even more shocking. This is the body of an immortal? So magical. In the lounge where Jia Lanzi was, he was about to make a move to save Xiaofan and prevent the immortal artifact fragment from shattering Xiaofan. At this moment, Jia Lanzi's heart suddenly trembled. What's going on? Jia Lanzi, who had always been calm, couldn't help but let out a heart-wrenching howl. All the chaos, all calm. The entire Yaoxia pagoda is peaceful. Moreover, the entire Yaoxia region is now full of immortal energy. Where is this immortal energy coming from? Xiaohan. Brother Xiaohan. He has successfully absorbed the immortal artifact. He is absorbing the Earth God's demon subduing pearl. Roar. What's going on? Brother Xiao is immortal. How can he refine and absorb an immortal artifact? There is absolutely no such logic in this world. Even I, who is known as a peerless genius in the vast celestial realm, can't refine and absorb the Earth God's demon subduing pearl, but Brother Xiao has done it. Jia Lanzi had completely lost the demeanor and bearing of an immortal. He started barking at the top of his lungs, as if he had seen a great miracle that even the celestial realm had not seen in billions of years. Chapter 574. At this point, Xiaohan's cultivation in the secret mind room had gradually stabilized, and he was on the right track. He unleashed his saber intent, broke down the fragments of the celestial artifact, and activated the indestructible golden body incantation to refine them. Everything that was supposed to be heaven-defying and impossible for a mortal was accomplished by Xiaofan in one go. In just a few days, the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl broke down into dozens of fragments, which were all refined by Xiaofan. Now, only a small half of the sphere was left, and it was preparing to fall off. Xiaohan's body, from the inside out, was filled with immortal qi. His body had been completely transformed, and he had completely ascended. He was no longer mortal, and had evolved into an immortal body. It was not the so-called half-immortal physique, but an authentic immortal physique. The supreme body that could only be created in the immortal world had now been created by someone in the mortal world. After I've completely refined the world origin energy of the celestial world, I'll look for Brother Jia Lan to evaluate my current celestial physique. However, I can feel that every single strand of my hair is filled with unimaginable power. If I were to encounter the divine sword sun again, Xiaohan's eyes were filled with an incomparably powerful and domineering confidence. In Jia Lanzi's lounge. After a few days of shock and barking, Jia Lanzi finally calmed down and stood by the window, looking out. I didn't expect Brother Xiao to succeed. The Earth God's demon-subduing pearl was absorbed by him. Moreover, he refined the celestial weapon. The speed at which an immortal body was created. Very quickly, it had only been a few days. For example, in the immortal realm, it would take more than a few days to create an immortal body. Moreover, even a level 3 true immortal or a level 4 true immortal would need a few years to refine this magic treasure, which was quite famous in the immortal realm. Although I don't know how Brother Xiaohan managed to refine this magic treasure, I have no idea. However, to break up the whole into parts. Brother Xiaohan must have cut a celestial artifact into countless pieces before absorbing and refining it. Jia Lanzi seemed to have been inspired. His eyes glowed as he fell into deep thought. The highest floor of the Wuxia pagoda. The 12 elders and the rest of the ancient authorities were astounded. It couldn't be any better. Just a few days after Xiaohan cultivated in seclusion, the atmosphere of the entire Wuxia domain changed drastically. In the entire Wuxia region, immortal energy drifted about everywhere. Many immortal trees grew. The flowers and plants of the immortal world attracted colorful butterflies, and countless birds chirped as they wandered through the forest. The immortal flowers that covered the mountains and plains were as bright as clouds and brocades. Some young and beautiful female heroes walked among the flowers in the mountains curiously. They were like fairies walking on the waves, walking in the picture. All kinds of colorful birds flew in the Wuxia domain. These birds were species that did not exist in the secular world. They were some sparrows and turtle doves. After entering the Wuxia domain, they were nourished by the immortal qi auspicious clouds and precious clouds and evolved into immortal birds. There were also some butterflies that had evolved. Their wingspans exceeded a meter, which was extremely magical. Even the soil of the entire Wuxia region became fragrant, colorful, and emitted the fragrance of medicine. This kind of soil could not be found anywhere else in the mortal world. It was already the soil of spiritual medicine. If mortals ate this soil, they would definitely get rid of all kinds of diseases and increase their lifespan. The warm air surged, and the Wuxia region was like spring all year round. The atmosphere of the immortal world. Finally, an elder said incoherently and tremblingly. Look at the current Wuxia region. It's impossible to have such an atmosphere in the mortal world. Could this be the immortal world? Leader Xiaohan, what is he cultivating? He actually made our Wuxia region almost turn into the immortal world. Unbelievable. Leader Xiaohan is cultivating immortal skills. Another few days passed. The Earth God Demon Subduing Pearl was about to be completely absorbed and refined by Xiaohan. Xiaohan stood up slightly and stretched his body. Rumble. Space exploded. Xiaofan stood up slightly and straightened his back. His aura suddenly soared into the sky like a mountain rising from the ground, towering, majestic, and imposing. The surface of Xiaofan's skin was shining, and every pore cell was enshrouded with immortal qi. The immortal qi rose above Xiaofan's head and condensed into immortal world runes. In the depths of these immortal world runes, a gate of the immortal world vaguely appeared. The patterns on it were very mysterious, and an ancient and supreme aura bloomed. Poof! Another fragment of the earth god demon subduing pearl fell off. Xiaofan's spirit wave wrapped around it, and then he skillfully activated his saber intent to cut it. Countless spots of holy yellow light surged toward Xiaofan like a swarm of bees, and then merged into Xiaofan's body in an extremely harmonious manner without the slightest rejection. This caused Xiaofan's body to become more and more dazzling, shining with boundless light. His immortal body became more condensed and solid. It was approaching perfection. As Xiaofan condensed his immortal body, the phenomenon of the entire devil hero domain also became more and more magnificent, causing this part of the secular world to completely evolve into a corner of the immortal world. Countless devil heroes came to pay their respects. As for Jia Lanzi, he also warned the 12 elders of the Devil Hero Tower to immediately seal the news and not let the people of the secular world come to disturb Xiaofan. Jia Lanzi also used a huge amount of immortal force to wrap the Devil Hero domain, so that the aura of Xiaofan condensing his immortal body would not spread out. Tao Meizi, who was residing in the Wuxia pagoda, was also startled as he ate and drank to his heart's content. He met up with Jia Lanzi to witness this rare miracle. Immortal condensed an immortal body in the secular world. Tao Tai mumbled while gnawing on a piece of chicken leg. His eyes were blurry. Moreover, it's an immortal body created by refining an immortal tool. The foundation of this immortal body is incomparably strong. It seems that Brother Xiaofan is not only the king of the secular world. In the future, when he reaches the immortal world, he will also be able to command the world. Tao Tai patted his big belly. Even if I have the stomach of Tao Tai, it's also impossible for me to refine a great immortal weapon like the earth god's demon subduing pearl in a short period of time. Brother Tao Tai, I have also been shocked for several days. Now, I am also numb. I will wait for Brother Xiao to come out of seclusion and see what degree of immortal body he can condense. Jia Lanzi smiled slightly. Brother Tao Tai, you must know. Brother Xiao has a special immortal physique created by refining magic treasures, the starry heaven's sovereign physique. You should know what a special immortal physique is. Yes, a special immortal physique. It's much stronger than ordinary immortal physiques. Among the same level 1 immortal physiques, special immortal physiques were at least twice as powerful as ordinary ones. In terms of immortal physique alone, it was a level 2 special immortal physique. It's comparable to an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. Tao Tai also had a rough idea. I reckon that it's about time for Brother Xiao to come out. Brother Tao Tai, let's get ready to welcome them. Ha 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 ha. Jia Lanzi roared with laughter. The Eastern Region. A prosperous empire in the Eastern Region, the Prosperous Sea Empire. At this time, in the back garden of the Prosperous Sea Empire's imperial palace, several youths with immortal charm were casually sitting next to carved stone chairs. They were just casually sitting there, but they gave people the feeling of looking up to a tall mountain. The tip of their eyebrows and the corner of their eyes were like a sovereign overlooking the world, dominating the 8 desolates. Among them, the one with the most outstanding temperament was a young man wearing a light yellow robe. This young man looked to be in his early 20s. He had an extraordinary temperament. His face was angular, and his whole body was like a god. His eyes were like the most dazzling stars in the night sky, able to attract countless rays of light. He stood up with his hands behind his back and his back straight. It was as if his body contained an immortal sword that could pierce the blue sky. His whole body seemed to be able to support the blue dome of heaven. The aura on his body made people want to kneel on the ground and deeply worship him. His willpower was extremely strong. Suddenly, the divine sword son, who was injured by Jia Lanzi and forced to retreat, actually appeared here. At this moment, the divine sword son's aura was extremely dispirited. His eyes were filled with endless resentment and hatred, and his teeth were clenched. Ha 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 ha, divine sword son. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect you to end up like this. Ha ha ha. This is really funny. A young man in red robes even had a terrifying scene of magma boiling in his eyes. Divine sword son, I didn't expect you to be crippled after coming to the mortal world. Ha ha ha, even your grade has dropped from a level 2 true immortal to a level 1 true immortal. Ha ha ha. How many dragons of immortal strength do you have now? I'm afraid there's not much left. Humph. The divine sword son snorted coldly and resentfully. The veins on his forehead were bulging. What? Divine sword son, you're not convinced? We just said a few words and you want to explode? Another young man in blue robes said coldly. If it wasn't for Heaven's Son who helped you hide your aura, I'm afraid you would still be chased to death. You, a dignified immortal, actually came to the mortal world and ended up in such a sorry state. You're like a stray dog. What else do you have to say? You're a disgrace to the geniuses of the immortal world. Roar. Xiaofan. Xiaofan. I, the divine sword son, will definitely not let you go. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to exterminate your entire family. I'm going to kill your entire family. The divine sword son finally let out a beast-like roar. Xiaofan. The young man in light yellow robes who was standing with his hands behind his back suddenly spoke. His voice was extremely indifferent, as if he was indifferent to everything. It made one's soul tremble and could not help but feel fear towards him. Divine sword son, what's going on between you and Xiaofan? He's a mortal and his level of existence is very different from us. He's worse than pigs and dogs. Why would he talk back to you? Why would he have such guts? Xiaofan is a beast. He's nothing special, but he has Jia Lanzi's support. The divine sword son said with deep resentment. Heaven's Son, with Jia Lanzi's support, Xiaofan will definitely not give you the quota. In the immortal world, you and Jia Lanzi are like fire and water. Now that Jia Lanzi has Xiaofan under control, he will definitely take the opportunity to suppress you. Oh? Is that so? Suddenly, a domineering aura burst out from Heaven's Son's body. It was as if an emperor had descended and looked down on everything. To be continued. Chapter 575. Divine Sword Son, what is the cause of this matter? Tell me in detail and don't leave anything out. Heaven Emperor Heaven calmed his aura and emotions and said coldly. Okay, I'll tell you. Divine Sword Son's eyes rolled a few times and he quickly said. This Xiaofan is just an ant-like mortal. However, his character is extremely arrogant and aloof. Arrogant? What right does a mortal have to be arrogant? As soon as these words came out, the immortals in the Imperial Garden all voiced their dissatisfaction at the same time. Heaven Emperor Heaven glared at them and these immortals did not dare to say anything else. Divine Sword Son, continue. Heaven Emperor Heaven said indifferently. Yes, in short, this Xiaofan is arrogant. He kept saying that after a few years, he would be the one to distribute the spots to enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. If he wanted to give a spot, he would give it to whoever he wanted. If he didn't want to give it, then he definitely wouldn't give it. He can even use this matter to extort us to raise his own status and ruthlessly humiliate us immortals. What a wolf's ambition. Divine Sword Son gritted his teeth and said. Of course, a mortal would not dare to be so presumptuous in front of us immortals even if he ate dog's guts. However, Jia Lanzi is supporting him. In the immortal world, Jia Lanzi is a person who thinks highly of himself. His sect is known as the #1 sect in the immortal world. He views all the other sects in the immortal world as evil devils. The current situation is that Xiaofan has been completely controlled by Jia Lanzi. The two of them are in cahoots with each other. They are roaming the entire plane, searching for immortals like us who have descended here to decide who the quota belongs to. If we immortals give Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan enough treasures, they will give us the quota. If we don't accept their exploitation, then they will not give us the quota. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given us a spot, causing us to descend and return empty-handed, wasting the sect's painstaking efforts. Before this, Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan took the initiative to look for me and demanded that I hand over all the treasures I had on me. Moreover, they want me to kneel. This is ridiculous. Of course I would resist. That Jia Lanzi was vicious and merciless, directly attacking me. If I hadn't used a life-saving magic treasure given to me by the sect in advance, I'm afraid I would have died. I've already died at the hands of Jia Lanzi. Even so, Jia Lanzi still beat me to the point that my grade dropped. Roar! How presumptuous! A mere mortal actually dared to force an immortal to kneel. How ridiculous! This is a provocation to the entire immortal world, said a pointy-faced man, his whole body surging with killing intent. Puny mortals, you should be respectful when you hear that we immortals have descended. Now, he still wants us to lower our status. Moreover, he wants to allocate the quota himself. Looks like this Xiaofan, we need to properly deal with him. Killing him was impossible, but he could bring his family back to the sect. All of his relatives were killed, tortured, and humiliated. However, the blue-robed youth who had mocked the divine sword son earlier said. He frowned slightly and said. According to the divine sword son, Jia Lanzi is currently controlling Xiaofan. Xiaofan's actions are very likely to be instigated by Jia Lanzi behind the scenes. After all, a mortal, a dog-like existence, could not possibly have such guts. Mortals are scared out of their wits when they see us immortals, yet they still dare to allocate the quota? It's obvious that Jia Lanzi is using Xiaofan to knock us down. Son of Heaven, you and Jia Lanzi are tit for tat in the immortal world. This time, I'm afraid that Jia Lanzi wants to take advantage of this opportunity to deal with you. If he treats you like how he treated the divine sword son and makes you kneel, then... Son of Heaven fell into deep thought. Son of Heaven, what should we do now? We have always followed your lead. You make the decision to deal with Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan. We will listen to your arrangements. These few immortals, one by one, looked at Son of Heaven. Right now, the situation is unfavorable for us. Son of Heaven slowly said. The 2 immortal keys to enter the 2nd floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure have a protective effect on the mortals who obtain the immortal keys. This causes us immortals to be cautious and not dare to kill these mortals. If not for this, I would have gone to take Xiaofan's head right now, cut him into 8 pieces, and execute his entire family. However, we cannot act recklessly against Xiaofan now. Moreover, with Jia Lanzi protecting Xiaofan, it will not be that easy for us to succeed. Are we just going to sit here and wait for death? Allowing a clown like Xiaofan to come and look for us? Allocating the quotas? If he does not give us the quota, are we going to return to the immortal world with our faces covered in dirt? If that's the case, when we return to the immortal world, we will have no face left. We will be laughed at by the other disciples of the sect. We must get the quota. Moreover, we are not begging Xiaofan to lower our status to please him, but to control him. Son of Heaven's eyes were brewing with the taste of conspiracy. Son of Heaven, what brilliant plan do you have? This matter is not difficult for me, son of heaven. Listen, contact some of the immortals who are on good terms with us to deal with Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan together. We will lure Jia Lanzi away and then capture Xiaofan alive. As long as we capture Xiaofan, I have at least 1,000 ways to torture him and make him obediently listen to our orders. At that time, we can order Xiaofan around like an animal. Moreover, after we enter the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure and Xiaofan loses his value, we can directly torture him to death. Son of Heaven's eyes reflected an extremely sinister and cruel expression. As for Xiaohan's family, relatives, and even anyone related to Xiaofan, all of them must die. Now, go to the secular world and check on Xiaohan's information. If he has a wife and children, then we can find some of the dirtiest beggars in the secular world and ravage his wife in front of him. We will let Xiaofan know the consequences of offending us. We will also let him know that following Jia Lanzi was a mistake. When Emperor Tsang uttered such malicious words, his emotions were actually very calm. It was as if he was just talking about some trivial family matters. This made this person even more cruel and terrifying. After we control Xiaofan, I will deprive Jia Lanzi of the right to enter the second floor of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. We will counterattack this arrogant Jia Lanzi. Son of Heaven revealed a demonic smile. Good. Emperor Tsang, let's act according to your plan. We'll find a chance to lure Jia Lanzi over and capture Xiaofan like a little chick. As long as we capture Xiaofan, we'll have a firm hold on everything. We'll rule over everything. The immortals nodded in agreement. At this time, Son of Heaven looked at Divine Sword Prince with a mocking gaze. Why, Divine Sword Prince, you should have returned to the immortal world by now, right? You can no longer obtain the right to enter the second floor of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Moreover, even if you go to other mundane worlds, you will not be able to compete with the immortals from other mundane worlds. You will also not be able to obtain the right. Even if you are lucky enough to enter the exploration a few years later, with your current strength, I'm afraid, you will inevitably die. Yes, I have no fate with the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. All of my dreams have been shattered. All of this was caused by Xiaofan. I will not return to the immortal world for the time being. I will stay in this world and hide in the dark. I will find a chance to torture and kill all of Xiaohan's family members. I will ravage all of Xiaohan's family members. I will rape all of Xiaohan's wives and concubines. The resentment and hatred in Divine Sword Prince's eyes could not be washed away even with the water of 3 rivers and 5 lakes. Yaoxia region. Yaoxia Tower. Xiaofan was in the spiritual secret room. At this moment, Xiaofan naturally did not know that Divine Sword Prince had colluded with Son of Heaven and was plotting against him. Xiaofan was completing the final refinement of his immortal body. The entire Earth God's demon subduing pearl was almost completely broken down and refined by Xiaofan. Only a small fragment was left. Ha ha ha. It's done. Xiaofan suddenly roared. His mental strength surged out like a wave and wrapped around the last fragment, absorbing and breaking it down, completely refining it. Boom boom boom. As of this moment, every cell in Xiaohan's body was thrumming with the power to dominate the wildlands. For some reason, he felt like he could rip open the gray space of any plane of existence in the mortal world and reach the world of immortals. This is what Brother Jialan was talking about, the second method of ascension for mortals. The first is to cultivate true qi, open the heavenly eye, and then comprehend the laws of the immortal world. Once you pass the heavenly tribulation, you can ascend and become an immortal. The second is to cultivate the immortal body and use the immortal body to tear open the space barrier between the immortal world and the mortal world. However, I am not sure if my immortal body can force my way to the immortal world. However, with my current strength, even if I can reach the immortal world, I will definitely not go. If I go to the immortal world, I will also be weak. It is better to temporarily stay in the mortal world. Xiaofan's mind was filled with thoughts. Now, Xiaofan's body had completely condensed into an immortal body. His lifespan, power, and intelligence were all rising steadily. Holy light shot out of Xiaofan's eyes. It was vast and boundless, as if his gaze could see through the blue dome of heaven and see the scene of the immortal world. If Xiaofan didn't intentionally restrain his aura, it would be possible to see streams of pure immortal energy erupting from him, forming numerous immortal dragons above his head. They swirled about, roiled about, and seemed capable of plucking the stars and the moon, shattering the river of stars. Every single pore on Xiaofan's body emitted a blinding divine light. With every step he took, the space around him would tremble and even shatter. With every breath he took, the airflow in the entire space would become violent. With my current strength, a casual breath of air can kill a tower master in the mortal world. With a slap of my palm, I can kill thousands of tower masters. Moreover, if I meet the divine sword son again, I will not need Brother Jialan to do anything. I will be able to deal with him. Xiaofan was satisfied and officially came out of seclusion. Immortal body. The condensation was successful. Chapter 576. Xiaofan became the first mortal to create a perfect immortal body in the mortal world since the birth of this world. Out of seclusion, welcome back, Leader Xiaofan. Congratulations, Leader Xiaofan. Your cultivation has risen again. Leader Xiaofan's immortal aura is extraordinary. We sincerely worship you. Leader Xiaofan is invincible. Long live. Glorious. The 12 elders led a large number of ancient giants outside to welcome him. All of them knelt and bowed their heads deeply, their faces full of pride and submission. Ha ha ha. Brother Xiao. I didn't expect you to succeed. This is truly a heaven-defying matter. Jia Lanzi and Tao Tai also stood side by side, sincerely congratulating Xiaofan. Brother Jia Lanzi, Brother Tao Tai. Xiaofan gestured for the elders and all the ancient giants to stand up and go about their own business. Then, Xiaofan also walked towards the two immortals, Jia Lanzi and Tao Tai. Gentlemen, let's find a lounge to talk in. I've just condensed an immortal body, and there are many things I don't understand. I'd like to ask you too. Good, good. Jia Lanzi and Tao Tai nodded repeatedly in agreement. In a quiet, spacious lounge with a beautiful environment. Before this, Jia Lanzi had already used some methods to test Xiaofan's immortal body. After the test, Jia Lanzi was completely stunned. Perfect. This immortal body is simply perfect. Jia Lanzi repeatedly exclaimed. Brother Xiao, this is the earth attribute of the special immortal body, the starry sky dominator body. With this kind of immortal body, its defensive power is extremely tyrannical. Xiaofan looked at Jia Lanzi with a face full of curiosity. Jia Lanzi sorted out his emotions and took a long time to calm himself down. Then, he took a sip of tea and slowly said. In terms of the quality of this immortal body, it is not inferior to Taotia's ancient Tao Tai immortal body. However, Taotia's ancient Tao Tai immortal body. It has the divine ability of devouring. And Brother Xiao, your starry sky dominator body specializes in defense. Brother Xiao, listen carefully to what I have to say. Jia Lanzi looked at Xiaofan with a serious expression. I've told you before. A level 1 true immortal must have a level 1 immortal physique. A level 1 immortal physique represented the physical strength of 1 to 10 immortal dragons. Moreover, the strength of 1 to 10 immortal dragons was needed to break the defense of a level 1 true immortal. It broke through the defenses of their immortal bodies. Similarly, a level 2 immortal body of a level 2 true immortal would have the strength of 11 to 20 immortal dragons. Xiaofan nodded slowly. Yes. One immortal dragon power is equivalent to 10 trillion cauldrons of power in the mortal world. Brother Xiao, you are now a level 2 starry sky dominator. Jia Lanzi said excitedly. Level 2 star dominator body? In other words, a level 2 immortal physique? Xiaofan was surprised. A level 2 starry sky dominator body is naturally a level 2 immortal body. However, it is not an ordinary level 2 immortal body. Jia Lanzi explained vividly. An ordinary level 2 immortal physique. That's about the physical strength of 11 to 20 immortal dragons. Brother Xiao, your level 2 starry sky dominator body only has 11 to 20 immortal dragons in terms of pure strength. In other words, a level 2 star dominator body and a level 2 ordinary immortal body were equally matched in terms of power. But the defense of a level 2 star dominator. It's equivalent to an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. Jia Lanzi's eyes lit up. I understand. The star sky dominator body wasn't outstanding in terms of strength, but its defense was strong. The defense of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique? In other words, only someone with the power of 31 to 40 immortal dragons can hurt me? Only then can you break my defense? Xiaofan was completely excited. Brother Jialan. The immortals who descended here today are all level 2 true immortals. Their immortal energy does not exceed 20 dragons. In other words, the true immortals who descended here are all true immortals. You can't even break my defense? This. Brother Xiao, that's not the case. Tao Tai also expressed his opinion. First of all, in terms of offense, Brother Xiao, you have a level 2 immortal physique, so you can unleash the strength of 11 to 20 immortal dragons. However, the immortals that descended here have all cultivated immortal spells. Among them, there are all sorts of defensive methods, and their lightning-fast movement techniques. If you really fought them, you might not be able to defeat them. You only have a strong immortal physique, but you know nothing about techniques and immortal spells. I understand. It's like in the mortal world, a barbarian with infinite strength is fighting against a martial arts expert who is very agile and skillful. Although the barbarian has great strength, he might not be able to hit the martial arts expert. Xiaofan nodded. So, Brother Xiao, in the celestial world, celestial energy, celestial arts, and Dharma treasures are the mainstream. Once a celestial body is strong enough, there must be a corresponding celestial energy. Unless the immortal just stands there and doesn't use any immortal spells or Dharma treasures, allowing you to attack them freely. In other words, the level of the immortal physique is so high that it can crush the immortal spells and Dharma treasures of low-level immortals. Secondly, Brother Xiao, although your defense is as strong as a level 4 immortal physique, when facing the immortals who descend, their immortal chi power is less than 20 immortal dragons. However, they can use immortal techniques to increase their attack power. Moreover, they can use their treasures to tangle with you continuously. I'm afraid that you will also be injured, Tao Tai continued. I understand. Xiaofan nodded again. Immortal chi power is flexible and changeable. Combined with immortal spells, it's infinitely powerful. I only have brute force and a strong body. I should have no problem protecting myself, but it's difficult to defeat the immortals. Yes, with the level of your immortal physique, it's almost impossible for any of the immortals who descended here to defeat you easily. Of course, you won't be able to defeat these immortals easily either. Self-defense is definitely not a problem, Jialan Zi said seriously. But if I completely condense the Thunder God Tyrant body and reach level 2 or 3, I'll be able to defeat some of the immortals who descended here. After all, the Thunder God Tyrant body's attack power and tearing power are definitely much stronger than the Star Dominator body, Xiaofan thought. Brother Xiao, I can't hurt you with ordinary immortal chi attacks, Jialan Zi said with a smile. Jialanzi paused for a moment, then continued. Brother Xiao, if you can reach level 3 or 4, then your body will be able to tear through the spatial crystal wall between the mortal world and the world of immortals. You'll be able to reach the world of immortals and become an immortal. You're only a little bit away from that. Plus, you'll have to restrain your current body. The aura of your immortal body can shatter the spatial crystal wall of this plane. That's not a problem, Xiaofan said with a smile. I've cultivated a special type of true qi, the spirit turtle true qi. It can also seal off the aura and power of an immortal body, allowing me to walk through this mundane plane without worrying about damage. As he said that, the talismans on Xiaohan's body surged, conjuring the true qi of the spirit turtle and wrapping around the aura of his immortal body. Immediately, the glistening immortal qi on Xiaofan dimmed, and his presence returned to ordinary. The spirit turtle's true qi really was wondrous and wondrous. In particular, after Xiaofan converted his true qi into a talisman and drastically increased the quality of his true qi, the spirit turtle's true qi that he produced could even shield him from everything, leaving behind no traces. Tisk, there's actually such a mysterious technique in the mortal world. How powerful, extremely powerful. Jialanzi could not help but praise in surprise. Brother Xiao, even I can't easily see through your immortal body now. The other immortals who have descended are probably even more difficult to see through. Ha ha ha, if you keep hiding your true strength like this, if you encounter another arrogant person like the divine sword child who provokes and looks down on Brother Xiao, I'm afraid they'll suffer a great loss. Ha ha ha. Tao Meizi also laughed loudly. The three of them chatted and laughed in a relaxed manner. Now, Xiaofan deeply felt that Jialanzi and Tao Meizi's attitude towards him was becoming more and more equal. They almost completely regarded him as a friend. There was no longer any barrier between humans and immortals. At this point, Xiaofan had completely won the respect of the immortals. Brother Xiao, since you've already condensed your immortal body, then next, let's continue to look for the scattered immortals. There are still many quotas that have not been released. Jialanzi said with a smile. Xiaofan smiled and said. There's no hurry. Brother Jialan, there are still several years before the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is opened. It doesn't matter if the quotas are released earlier or later. Now, I have a plan. Oh? Jialanzi and Tao Meizi were both stunned. I'd like to hear the details. Jialanzi said. I'd like to ask Brother Jialan and Brother Tao Tai to help me release a message so that all the immortals who have descended to this plane know about it. Xiaofan said with a confident tone. What message? Tao Meizi licked the grease on his fingers. Now, I'm willing to take out 10 quotas to carry out the bounty. Xiaohan's eyes lit up. 10 quotas to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. These 10 slots could be purchased with Earth Elemental Celestial Pills, Lightning Elemental Celestial Pills, and Psychic Energy Elemental Celestial Pills. Then, they could be purchased with Earth Elemental Celestial Artifacts, Lightning Elemental Celestial Artifacts, and Psychic Energy Elemental Celestial Artifacts. 10 quotas, first come, first served. At the same time, Xiaofan looked at Jialanzi. Of course, while offering the immortal pills and magical treasures, we also have to check if they have committed crimes in the mortal plane. If they are like Divine Sword Sun and commit crimes, then even if they have immortal pills, magical medicines, immortal treasures, and magical treasures, they will not be given a quota. Instead, they will be expelled. Those who have committed the most heinous crimes will be killed. Oh. Brother Xiao, you want to obtain more magical treasures and condense a more perfect immortal body? Good. You really have great ambitions. I also support your plan. As for investigating the character and behavior of the immortals, leave this matter to me. Jialanzi smiled and said. Suddenly, Xiaohan's eyes flashed with a trace of hostility and he said fiercely. Other than these 10 quotas, I'll take out another 2 quotas for the bounty. Bounty for Divine Sword Sun. If you can capture Divine Sword Sun alive, I'm willing to give you 2 quotas. If you bring Divine Sword Sun's head, you can take 1 quota from me. Chapter 577. With great rewards, there will always be brave men. This time, that Divine Sword Sun is dead for sure. Moreover, the Divine Sword Sun has already been injured by Brother Xiaofan, causing his rank to drop. If the immortals who descended wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. Now, as long as he dares to show himself, he will be in grave danger. Looks like he can only secretly return to the immortal dimension in order to escape this predicament. Very well. Brother Xiao, I already understand your thoughts. Then, you can just wait here for good news. Tao Tai and I will spread the news to all immortals who descend upon this plane, Jia Lanzi said with a smile. After a pause, Jia Lanzi asked curiously. Brother Xiao originally had a special dual attribute embryonic immortal physique. In his bloodline, aside from the earth and starry sky attributes, there is also the lightning attribute. Now, Brother Xiao has already perfected the starry heaven's sovereign body. If I can obtain a lightning-attributed immortal pill or dharma treasure and forge the mighty body of the thunder god, I will have a dual elemental immortal body. That would be amazing. After hearing Jia Lanzi's words, Xiaofan's curiosity was aroused and he could not help but ask. Brother Jialan, you have a dual attribute immortal physique. What is your status in the immortal world? Brother Xiao, true dual attributed immortal bodies are highly sought after in the immortal world. The various sects of the immortal world will fight to recruit them. However, there are also many geniuses in the celestial world. For example, there are those with dual attributes, or even those with 3 or 4 attributes. However, no matter what, if Brother Xiao really manages to refine a dual attribute celestial physique, then when you ascend to the celestial world, I can act as a middleman so that Brother Xiao can join my sect. My sect is known as the #1 sect in the celestial world. Countless young celestials are trying their best to enter my sect. Oh. Xiaofan nodded. It seemed that a dual attribute immortal physique had a certain status in the immortal world. Let's see if I can create a dual attribute immortal body. Are there any immortals willing to take out lightning attribute immortal pills and treasures in exchange for a spot? Xiaofan's heart was filled with anticipation. After a full 7 days. The Eastern Region. Haichang Empire. Imperial Garden of the Imperial Palace. Led by Sun Firmament, a group of immortals gathered together. Prior to this, there were only a few immortals around Heaven Emperor. But now, there were at least 40 to 50 immortals, like stars surrounding the moon. They clustered around the Son of Heaven. His body was as sharp as a sword. His eyes were filled with the domineering aura of a sovereign descending upon the world. He had the demeanor of a leader. Even if he was standing amongst the group of immortals. Even the Son of Heaven had the grace of a crane in a flock of chickens. This person seemed to be born to be a leader. He had a domineering demeanor. However, the 40 to 50 immortals surrounding Emperor Chang all had one thing in common, and that was, their eyes were filled with a strong sense of defiance. Deep wildness, and even unscrupulous cruelty and ruthlessness. Of the immortals Xiaofan had encountered before, such as Master God Diviner and Master Tao Tai, Master God Diviner and Master Tao Tai. Shi Yangzi, Jia Lanzi, these immortals all had the demeanor of sages. They were kind and aloof from worldly affairs. On the other hand, the immortals surrounding the Son of Heaven were too ruthless and violent. They had the ferocity of devouring the void and slaughtering all living things at any time. Everyone here is quite friendly with each other in the immortal world. Although I don't have much interaction with some of my friends, I believe that all of you should have heard of my name, Son of Heaven, the Son of Heaven said coldly and arrogantly. Although this group of immortals was arrogant and unruly, they were obedient in front of the Son of Heaven and under the deterrence of his aura. So much so that they even revealed a deep fear towards Son of Heaven, and fear. Son of Heaven, let's cut the nonsense. You're known for being ruthless in the immortal world. You even dared to kill a level 3 true immortal. You're a ruthless character. If you don't agree with your words, you'll cripple an entire family. Of course, we admire your cultivation base and the many magical treasures you have. We're far from being your opponents. Since you've gathered us here today, just announce whatever plan you have in mind. We'll all comply. Ha! A one-eyed young immortal said with a cold and stern expression. I think if we don't agree, I'm afraid you'll immediately turn hostile and kill us. So, a wise man submits to circumstances. We all respect you. With that said, the other immortals also nodded their heads. Oh. Since everyone is so agreeable, then it saves me, the Son of Heaven, some trouble. The Son of Heaven smiled coldly. The muscles at the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Originally, I was planning to kill a few people to establish my authority. But now, it seems that there's no need for that. Then I'll be straightforward. The reason why we descended this time is to enter the second floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure to search for opportunities. However, if we want to search for treasures, we must go through a mortal called Xiaofan. Xiaofan holds the quota to enter the second floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. However, Xiaofan is now under the control of Jia Lanzi. When the quota is allocated, he wants to extort us, and even humiliate us. Humph. Jia Lanzi is a hypocrite. I believe that all of you are already very clear in the immortal world. You fellows have also committed some crimes after descending. As he spoke, the Son of Heaven's gaze swept across the group of immortals. Futa Z, after you descended, you carried out a massacre in an empire in the western region and killed hundreds of thousands of mortals. Gue Sha Z, after you descended, you wantonly plundered the beauties of the mortal world and ravaged them. You even kept some female slaves. Rakshasa Z, as a female immortal, you are also extremely lascivious. You actually ravaged the boys among the mortals. In this short period of time, the number of boys who were ravaged and sucked to death by you must have reached 1,000. The Son of Heaven spoke as if he was counting his family's treasures. Obviously, he had already grasped the various crimes committed by these immortals after descending to the mortal world. Mortals are like pigs and dogs. In the eyes of us immortals, they are even worse than beasts. In my eyes, it's understandable for you to descend to the mortal world and ravage these insignificant mortals. Trampling some ants to death won't hurt your merit. However, Jia Lanzi, that sanctimonious hypocrite, will definitely not think so. He will definitely deprive you of your spots. Yes, I, Shen Jianzi, have only killed some mortals and beasts in the mortal world. Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan actually insulted me and deprived me of my spot to enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Not only that, Jia Lanzi even tried to kill me. Fortunately, I used a magical treasure and saved my life. The Son of Heaven's sword walked out. His eyes were filled with hatred as he spoke while gritting his teeth. Everyone, which of the things you have done in the mortal world are not more rampant than me, the Son of Heaven's sword? Ha ha ha. Massacring a city? Raping and pillaging? Ha ha ha. Not only will you not get a spot, but you will also be killed by Jia Lanzi. This. It seemed that this group of immortals was also very afraid of Jia Lanzi. Now, they looked at each other with a hint of anxiety. Everyone, don't worry. I, the Son of Heaven, have gathered all of you here to form an alliance. We, the Immortals, will form a small group to fight against Jia Lanzi. Moreover, as long as we capture Xiaofan, we will be able to completely control the situation. The Son of Heaven smiled with satisfaction. After all, Jia Lanzi is the only one guarding Xiaofan. It won't be difficult for us to lure Jia Lanzi away and capture Xiaofan alive. Since things have come to this, then let's listen to the Son of Heaven. If we don't join forces and wait for Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan to find us one by one, then with Jia Lanzi's ability, he can kill us if he wants to. He can almost destroy all of us one by one. We can only unite and fight against them. With the Son of Heaven leading us against Jia Lanzi, we may not necessarily lose. Instead, we have a great chance of winning. Yes, it is imperative for us to join forces and form a small group. Recently, I heard Jia Lanzi release a message saying that we can use celestial pills, celestial treasures, and magical treasures to go to Xiaohan's place to exchange for a spot. How greedy! If we don't join forces, we, the Immortals, will be taken advantage of by Immortal. What a scandal! These Immortals nodded and then formed a group with the Son of Heaven as the leader. At this time, an Immortal looked at the Divine Sword Prince mockingly. Divine Sword Prince, I heard that if we kill you and take your head to see Xiaofan, we can get one spot. If we capture you alive and hand you over to Xiaofan, we can even get 2 spots. Hee hee. Hee hee, a large group of Immortals looked at the Divine Sword Prince. The Divine Sword Prince's hair stood on end. Alright, don't scare the Divine Sword Prince. It's just 1 or 2 spots. We don't want to deal with the Divine Sword Prince and compromise to get them. We want all the spots. We want to control Xiaofan. We want to kill Xiaohan's entire family. We want to make Jia Lanzi suffer. The Son of Heaven's face revealed a trace of fierceness. The Devil Hero Region. The Devil Hero Pagoda. For the past few days, Xiaofan had been cultivating in the Devil Hero Pagoda. Jia Lanzi and Tao Tai had already released the news of the exchange spots, so that all the Immortals who had descended to this realm knew. What Xiaofan had to do now was to wait. Immortal pills and Dharma treasures are indeed precious. Those Immortals must be reluctant to use them to exchange for the spots. However, I'm fishing for those who are willing to take the bait. Xiaofan thought. On this day, Xiaofan, Jia Lanzi, and Tao Tai were sitting in an elegant resting room, casually sipping tea and chatting. Brother Xiaofan, the news has been out for a few days. However, there are still no Immortals with immortal pills and Dharma treasures coming to exchange for the spots. Tao Tai mumbled. It seems that these Immortals are also very patient, not necessarily. Jia Lanzi smiled slightly. The key problem is that Brother Xiaofan only wants Thunder attribute, Starry Sky Earth attribute, and Mental Force attribute. These are the 3 types of immortal pills and Dharma treasures. Brother Xiaofan doesn't want any of the other attributes. Suddenly, Xiaofan gathered his mental force. They're here. Several Immortals are approaching the Devil Hero region. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.